Hi, my name's Ethan Lawrence.
This is Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage.
Hi, I'm Scotty Wartu.
Hi, my name's Sean Smith.
Hi, my name is Desha Kiva.
This is Ryan McCombs from the band Soil.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Wage and Cage and Last Maroo.
Hi, I'm Steve LaPorte, and welcome to the Chronicles of Podcast with Tom and Jamie. And this is what I do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 139th edition of the Chronicles of Podcast. And these right here are the Chronicles of Steve LaPorte 2.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew the things were coming up.
It is I, Jamie, and joining me as always this week, as always, this handsome fella right here.
If you're unsure, 2 apparently is 2 fingers together. Not this. Apparently, just in case you're unsure. Just in case you're unsure. I'm Steve LaPorte. Hang on. 1, 2. Jesus Christ. It's time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week we bring you a returning guest, a man who was so wonderful we just had to have him back for a part 2. This week's guest is an Oscar award-winning special effects makeup artist who returns to us today to talk all about his brand new YouTube series, Facemaker Factory, and much more. Join us as we say, hey Facemakers, and welcome back the Facemaker himself, and bring you the Chronicles of Steve LaPorte 2.
Part 2. I lived long enough to do part 2. That's good.
Dude, come on. Give yourself a bit more credit, Steve. Like, fucking hell. And then we're starting off dark already.
Well, I need to get wiped out by pandemic part 2, you know?
Yeah. Like, I know, obviously, you're over on the West Coast there, and your day's pretty much just begun. But how has your Wednesday treated you so far?
It's good. It's warm here. I have to do a little, I'm prepping a new video for my show. So, you know, it's crazy. You make all these cool things. You make molds, you sculpt, you do everything. And usually you get kind of what I call the right side of the brain where you're focused on doing your thing. Well, I've got to like put a camera here and film what I'm doing. And, you know, that's a whole challenge in and of itself. You know, the stupidest things, you know, so, I wonder if it'd be great. Maybe I should film picking my nose or something. People might find that interesting. But, you know, so I've got old iPhones out there rigged on rigs. So to shoot down at my hands and, you know, using what I got, you know, until the bucks roll in and I can buy a decent camera. But yeah, I'm just pulling out all the old crap out of the closet and putting together some fun stuff. So I was just out there pouring some silicone in a mold and filming that a while ago. So
nice.
That's keeping me good.
Good.
It's hot here. It is hot though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're like, I think you said before we started, like you have the ocean breeze coming and everything else. So like, you know, you've got some sort of air con in a way.
Some, yeah, but you know, I live in Burbank, and we're maybe 20 miles from the ocean, but we're kind of in a bowl, and sometimes we get this gray London, I get that rolls into London and it's kind of gray, and we'll get like 2 days of that, and then all of a sudden it gets really humid and it gets hotter than hell. You know, hot in hell here. You know, humid. You know, 95 degrees with humidity is 100.
Oh, great.
But,
you bet. I know we're going to talk about it, but I just want while it's fresh in my mind. You mentioned about obviously having iPhones hanging over you while you're doing such a film. Have you ever got to that point where you've got so invested in what you're doing that you've kind of started getting in your own way? Do you know what I mean? Like you start
yeah. Nothing like leaning in and filming my bald spot from the So or sometimes I'll forget what I'm doing and I'll go to wash my hands off and I realize, the camera's rolling and I got like dead space.
No.
And then I find that, you know, I'm starting to talk and explain something and I'm trying to focus what I'm doing, and then I forgot to talk about something that you can't talk about it now. You know, you see that little leak over there? You got to watch that. I forgot to talk about it. So then I end up wiping the whole thing clean and doing a voiceover.
No.
So I'm playing with it. You know, it's a whole, you know, fortunately I've been around the film business. So I kind of know about camera angles, what works and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to now just film a lot of content, and I'll put myself in a little window up in the corner talking and making jokes. And, you know, if people want to see my mug, they can do that, you know. So like we're talking here, you know, all three of us are in the shot. So I think things like that are going to come into play. And I've got a friend whose son is playing around with editing. They took one of my videos and chopped it up and fixed it up a little better. And every time I'd talk about a product, he'd throw a little window up and there's the product right there, and,
That's cool.
and things like that. So I'm learning.
It's
I'm
funny.
learning.
It is all like a learning process. It's funny. You just had a memory in mind when you're saying like you get distracted and just carry on what you're doing. I remember like over 10 years ago when I first decided to try this podcasting game, I tried doing a movie commentary and I got that invested in the film. I just stopped talking. I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be talking about this. You just forget what you're doing.
Well, I found I'm getting cleaner stuff when I just filmed the process, and then then I can sit and talk about it later, and I can edit it to a viewable piece, and give it the best reference by me later on. But it's certainly a challenge. I found that I've been wanting during the middle of the pandemic I wanted to do this anyway, and just never you can't get my butt out the door. I finally started doing it in January, I think, this year. So it's just since I talked to you guys. So had I done it back when I wanted to do it, I'd been 2 years in already. But the window was what it was.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, Steve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's sometimes, and and I saw a really interesting, people want to do this. They want to make a lot of money and do all this, but I'm doing this for my grandkids. I could be long gone and my grandkids can pull up the internet and see me talk about stuff or describe stuff or tell a funny story, things that unless they're locked in a room with me, they're never going to hear, because they want to go out and play. But so I think since I saw you last, I already did another life cast to my grandson who's 6 now. Well, and I did that. And now we're getting ready for Halloween. So he's going to have a really bitchin' Halloween mask. that he can wear at school, and he really liked the Eddie makeup I did for the show, and so he says I want something really cool with teeth, or so we're playing with that. So
he's gonna go to school and just scare the shit out of all the other kids.
he starts first grade in about a week, so so it'll be fun. Just got to find out what next challenge I can do, but he's good at sitting there putting glop on his face, so I figured he can take wearing a mask part of the day. So
fair. I was going to say fair play to him for sitting still to have the cast made in the first place.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of people, it's easy to watch, but to sit and go through it can be difficult for some. Some people may have a nightmare. They fall asleep. They start snoring. Next thing you know, they wake up and they're inside of a dark tunnel. And where the heck am I?
Oh.
I'm just rambling about what it's like to be under the stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it because of the straws into the nose. Like, no, I don't think I could do that.
That's bloody. They don't do the straws in the nose anymore.
Oh, do they not?
You breathe through the same 2 holes. All you do is you go around the nostrils and you breathe through what you got.
Oh, okay.
And the straws, you got to breathe like a snorkel. And if you bump it, you get a bloody nose. And I think the first time I ever did that, I showed someone how to do it to me. I was trusting, and they did the straw bit, and we got through it. But it's really the easiest way is to work it. The tough part on you would be your beard.
Yeah.
And now with the technology, most of the guys we're scanning people now. You get a scanner, you get their eyes open, you can strike a pose, whatever, and you scan that image, and then you 3D print it out. And that's what you make your master molds from. So when you do a life cast of someone, especially if it's an older person, their face is going to sag by the weight of the material. And if they lay back, their face is going to go like this. If they lean forward, it's going to go like that. You get that turkey waddle under the neck that's going to get all weird and strange. But now you can bring an actor in, put a cap on them to hold their hair back, scan them, do your thing, and they go away in about half hour, and then you send the scan to someone in the UK because the actor was in here, and the UK guy can then print it out. So you can literally, it's made as global now. We can share work with each other, and move into the next generation of makeup effects and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool what technology has brought us to. I've got 4 3D printers. One of them is a resin printer to printing high detail. it's small, but I can do a small face. And I went into it because I know that technology is going to change. I mean, 3 of my printers are already obsolete as far as how fast they can print. So it's a wonderful technology that we're getting into. I mean, some people are still doing it the old-fashioned way, and I think it's important to know. And that's what I'm trying to address with my channel is, because everyone. I don't think anyone I talk to out there, I don't think everyone wants to be a makeup artist, but you've got a lot of curiosities out there. And I'm here to kind of, feel that curious feeling people have about, makeup effects, or how to do things. I call myself kind of an inventor anyway. So I'm going after the cosplay people and Halloween people and, just the general people who want to know how we do cool stuff,
It's a question I had for later on, but I'm going to bring it up now since you've so beautifully segued into it, which was how have the advancements in technology changed the field of makeup artistry during your whole career?
Oh, wow. Boy, I was on a set yesterday. I worked one day yesterday. We have a thing in our union that if you're stagnant for more than 3 years, you go off the experience roster.
Oh,
so you have to get back in again. And, I've been in 40 years. So I just had to do my one day yesterday and I'm good for 3 years.
Nice.
3 years, 3 years, I don't want to go on a set anyway. But you never know if something takes you on set. You don't want to have any union rules barring you from going on the set. So I did my one day yesterday. But just the way that we fill out our paperwork, instead of getting a stack of paperwork and you fill it out and sign, it comes on your iPhone and you dial it in.
That's nice.
And of course, face casts in the old days have come from doing it with Vaseline on the face to plaster to alginate, dental impression material, and then better alginate materials come along, and then and now with the advent of doing silicone faces, use silicone material, which I use because you always have that as a backup to make multiple copies from. Now we've gone into the scanning thing. So, and materials, foam latex was a big deal. When I got in, everyone had to learn how to, mix your foam rubber and put it in the molds. And you're always dealing with the humidity and baking it in an oven for 3 to 5 hours, depending on the size of the prosthetic. And you cross your fingers that you might get an air bubble near the surface that ruins the whole thing.
Oh.
But you don't know for 5 hours. Where now we're making prosthetics out of silicone, where you basically spray plastic coating in both sides of your mold. You mix your silicone up, you put it in a vacuum chamber to take all the air bubbles out, you pour it in, you put it together, and you're almost guaranteed a perfect piece in less than an hour.
Amazing.
So it is heavier on the face. So if it's a big prosthetic, like the Eddie makeup that I did, originally I was thinking of doing it in silicone, but it's such a huge, thick piece. I went back to old conventions and did it in foam latex. And it gave me the stretch. So even though the technology has advanced with some materials, we're still using those, what's considered old materials, to do new things with. So it's still, how do I say, we've just added more tools to our toolbox with the new technology. And, as someone who likes to pass it on to the next generation, I want to cover all the bases. It's amazing how many people don't know how to mix up a bucket of plaster. And, when I wanted to do a YouTube channel, I found that, teaching people one-on-one is great, but you always forget stuff because someone will ask a question and then you didn't get it covered. And the next day you go, oh man, I wish I would have talked about that. Well, now I can talk directly to people, edit as I go along and deliver information and then get comments back and then revisit that later on. And I really like the freedom that I have doing that. But still, again, it just allows me to have more time in my life to do things. I have a lot of responsibilities around the house and to do things here, and I can pop out at night while everyone's, settled down and do off a, 30-minute video or something and think about it, overnight, write things down and just kind of compose as I go along. And I find it very refreshing. I enjoy it. I get good feedback from friends and a few fans, and that propels me forward to the next thing I'm going to do. And I'm sure you guys have, we just spoke about, an additional person to talk to, someone that's interesting, someone that brings an audience to what you have to offer. And I think that's refreshing. It's a new way of passing it on to the next group of people who just kind of want to know how we do what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously, we're here to talk all about your new YouTube channel that you've started, the Facemaker Factory. That's probably shouldn't have led with that, I feel, but I got because it's talking about technology, I got carried away with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm covering that, because we even spoke before. I have such an eclectic background. I think I can cover a wide range of information. People want to know about my life in the circus. I can cover and talk about that. And I'm a storyteller. People like stories, and I like to tell stories. And sometimes, I go to work, or used to go to work, and you're talking, and someone brings something up, and then you go off into a story, and you're kind of describing something, and next thing you look up, and you got like 10 people standing around. It's like, geez, I heard you talking about that. Or if you bring up a specific actor, and someone goes, well, I want to hear all about that guy. It's not like it's all kiss and tell, but you try to keep it in a realm that, as long as there's 20 people standing around watching what happened, it's not like you're telling something that shouldn't have been spoken about, but you can tell at least your take on it. You mentioned, I worked with Xander on T2. One of your other guys. And then he came in on Longmire and worked on Longmire. So I hadn't seen him in years. And then I was working on another film, TV series called Bosch, and his wife was in my chair. We started talking, and she mentioned that her husband was an actor, and I go, what's his name? And she goes, Xander Berkeley. I go, oh, well, crap. I remember him getting speared through the mouth with the blade in T2. I remember that night, sitting late night on the floor in some house they had rented to film in, and so those tiny little stories, I call it blank space in time. We're just sitting there waiting for the cameras to roll. And that's when some of the most interesting things happen. People start talking and telling stories or goofing around, and then something funny happens, and the next thing you know, you're rolling and you've got a little story in the back of your head. And I think those are great to bring to the channel, because those are the things, when people see a movie you worked on, they see the finished movie, and there's so much more underneath it. I call it the tip of the iceberg. And what I do, you see the finished product, but I'm trying to show people part of that iceberg. Even the Eddie makeup that I chose to do for this last show, I filmed every aspect of it. You might have seen some of how to make the molds for the teeth, how to sculpt the teeth, how to do this. So I've got every aspect of the molding process down to running the rubber that goes into it. So I want to cover enough that people feel like they're seeing the full story, and all the part that's under the water they don't get to see, and have fun along the way. So it's a fun ride.
And it's a great idea. Well, look, we've mentioned Eddie several times now, so let's talk about it, because when you originally reached out to us and sent me that photo, and I was like, holy fuck, that is incredible. Where did the idea to do Eddie come from?
It's funny. I'm not even an Iron Maiden fan. I don't even listen to heavy metal. But the heaviest rock I'd listen to would be like Grand Funk Railroad back in the 70s.
Yeah, but we're an American band with a great song, so it's fine.
Yeah, but exactly. Three guys who were like blues background. That's kind of. I've never been in rock, but I got a younger son who he was a Quiet Riot. That realm. What's his name? Axl Rose. Guns N' Roses. His wife is into the Scorpions. So I've had that around me, and I'm pretty broad knowledge of music. And the Eddie character always popped up as a great art piece. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, so I guess what would you call that kind of art that goes beyond what it was created for and creates a whole new persona. And I started looking up Eddie several years ago. I said, man, that would make a great makeup if you could pull it off. But to pull a makeup off of a flat image is challenging, because it's like trying to do a three-dimensional Mickey Mouse. Mickey's ears always turn funny when he turns to the camera, in animation,
Yeah.
but Eddie's drawn a certain way in many different ways. I go, where do you find the right image and how to bring that to life? And, of course, I love doing these demonstrations. And now that I have the time to focus on things, my entire focus can be dedicated to something I'm working on. It's no longer a part-time thing. So I started looking at all the different versions that were done of Eddie. And the way we do our show, we get a lot, we have a Friday evening, we have a Saturday and a Sunday. Well, Friday evening is what you would call your rock and roll crowd, they called it. So when I contacted the guys at PPI that I wanted to do a demo, I said, I have this idea for doing Eddie from Iron Maiden. And they just went nuts. And they go, oh man, we have all the albums. They're of the age and of the interest. They had all the Iron Maiden stuff. He says, we'll put on like a 15-minute set of Iron Maiden and blast it when you're almost finished with the makeup. And that's what they did. It was pretty crazy. But, I started sculpting this thing and moving it around. And I came up with the initial look for it rather quickly. I just combined various elements of it. And as I did it, I'm thinking, crap, I could redo this in like 4 different versions for the next 4 years if I wanted to revisit it. The toughest part is the costuming. You got some of the characters very elaborate costumes, so that's going to be the most challenging part. So I just have to find my way into recreating some of these comic book characters, if for lack of a better word, and bring them to life. There's a really cool character that is in kind of, I guess, an artist by a guy named. It's a character called Ratfink, and
I know that name.
You should Google Ratfink. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Ratfink would be a great character. It's a very cartoonish looking rat. He's green with big ears and big teeth.
Yes.
Kind of 1960s weirdo era, and some of those Big Daddy Roth weirdo characters, I think, lend themselves to a really cool translation into 3-dimensional makeup. And it's endless. There's some really cool things out there. You just got to have the time and the effort put forward to bring them to life. And for me, every time I do a makeup, it involves making a lot of molds. So then all of a sudden my mold storage gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I try to do things that I don't have a lot of waste materials laying around. So but the Eddie was such a blast to work on, and I knocked it out relatively fast. But I cataloged it over the 5 weeks it took to create the character.
Were you quite nervous to take on such an iconic character? Because obviously he's been around for so long that.
Yeah, I was. It's really the person who plays it is important, and the guy who the model Alex, who was my model, he's tall and lanky, and I did an alien makeup on him several years ago, which I'll put a video up for that and show you what I did with him. He has mime type movements. He has really great movements, and he's very dynamic when he works, and he knows how to work a makeup. And the interesting thing about this makeup that I did was, rather than your typical guy with some scary teeth and a little prosthetic goes on, I went big or go home. And I'll pull him down. I can show you here. This is the actual piece that I had. So that's cool. The used piece. There we go. But what I did is I designed it to have the teeth on the outside of his face, manipulated by clipping into his own teeth. And I had a bit of a chat with some friends, and I called my buddy Rick Baker up and said, Rick, in all those apes you do, how did you get it in there so it worked naturally? And he kind of gave me a few tips, and I just kind of ran with the idea and took it to the limit. And it just made me think, I can do that with other characters. I can do, an abominable snowman character with his teeth out to here if I want. Or then I thought Ratfink would be really cool to do. So the more I talk about it, the more I want to do it, and then I'm going to get committed because here it's out on the waves now. So yeah, I always like outdoing myself. It's a personal challenge, and the great thing about it had no director telling me what to do. I had no producer saying, "Can you change the color?" You know?
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the teeth, because when I was watching the making the videos you're doing, the
Yeah.
bottom jaw, that is the one that got me. I was like, that has got to feel so weird to wear, because like you say, it sits on your teeth, but the teeth are on the outside. Yeah,
It's hanging on the outside.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like here's a blank piece right here, and you see it just sits right on my chin, and then the other piece goes in. So you've got a bit of a little plastic bridge, so your lip is kind of stuck in the middle there, and it's fairly comfortable. I made it so I could remove it, but he was so comfortable wearing it. He wore it for like 3 or 4 hours. He was fine. So my next challenge is to make it with magnets inside, so I can disengage the piece on the inside of the mouth, take it out so they can eat and drink, and then put it back in, and the magnets will then connect to the piece itself. So, and then the next one I want to make too is mechanics that go to the upper lip, so I can have little servo motors, so you can get lip snarls and things like that. I mean, that really gets advanced. But hey, what do I got? I got nothing but time to figure it out. Yeah. That's the great thing about it. I don't have to go to work and do a 14-hour day and then come home and work on it in my spare time.
So you mentioned like you did this for Monsterpalooza. You do this event like most years, don't you?
Yeah, fortunately, they do 2 a year. They do Son of Monsterpalooza right here in Burbank. It's literally like 8 minutes from the house. I can drive up the street, park across the way, go in, do a video. If I forgot something at the house, I can run home. Nice. And then the big Monsterpalooza, which this one was for, was in Pasadena. So it's a big thing there. And I find that it's great to be able to sit and do a makeup, but because I enjoy passing it on to the next generation, there's a few people I want to give them a shot at application and kind of direct them along, have them help me do it. So then I can be out front talking about the techniques, talking about what I do and my channel and what it presents to people while someone else is doing the makeup. And if I have to step in to save the day or just help them out, I'm there to do that. So that's where moving forward, that's the way I would like to do it. It gives the next group of artists a chance to polish their skills. And nothing like doing something live. Every time you do a makeup at a show like this, it's basically a test. It's a makeup test that has to, hit the ball out of the park.
So what other looks have you done at these Monsterpalooza shows?
I started off probably about 10 years ago. I would take one prosthetic and put one I did a guy whose eye had been gouged out from an old movie. What was the movie? Soldier with Kurt Russell. And I had a prosthetic I did on the actor Jason Scott Lee, who, you remember him, he played Bruce Lee in the Bruce Lee movie. So Jason was the villain in Soldier. And at one point he gets his eye gouged out. And because there's a lot of martial arts and fighting, he had to have vision. So the aftermath of the eye gouged out was a contact lens and some scarring. With the initial piece I had with the eye gouged out, I took that one piece in my demonstration, because people go to these trade shows and they see big elaborate makeups that 5 people work on, a whole makeup school worked on it for weeks to get it ready for the show. And that can be a bit intimidating. They go, well, I'll never be able to do that. Well, my whole point was, what can I do with 1 or 2 little prosthetics or one little gag that shows, so they don't feel so intimidated by the process. So the first thing I did was I used basic skills, put a prosthetic on, the prosthetic stops here, they'll put some injuries over here, put a beard on the guy, do other things. So I built an entire makeup with basically one prosthetic and out of kit techniques. The next year, I did a whole burn makeup on a guy using tissue paper and glue and color.
Listen.
And he's basically luckily stuck his head in a furnace and burnt everything off. So this is all burnt and stuff. And I like to incorporate a few magic tricks. There's something called flash paper magicians will use, and you touch it to a flame and it flashes like that. So I did little tricks. So I take a little flash paper and stuck it on top of his head and touched it with a torch, and boom, his head caught on fire and it flashes off like that. So it's a bit of a magic trick. So I like the ooh and the ah factor of doing a live show. You know, it goes back to my circus days. You got one chance to do the gag for the people, and you got to have what's called a blow off. So I like a nice blow off on things. So what I did was started coming up with things that have a nice finish to them, not just a mundane, makeup demonstration. And then you take a bow at the end. So that's why I look for a good model who can bring the makeup to life. And purposely, I had Alex sit there. I put the teeth in. I didn't really make a big deal out of it because I didn't want people to see the gimmick. We filmed it earlier. And then I said, just be cool until I turn you loose. And I told the boys, I said, when I put the wig on, crank the music up. And virtually the crowd started forming. When they heard the music, they knew something was going to happen. And once I got the wardrobe on and the wig done and everything said, I spun him around the chair and said, and here he is. And he stood up and went right into character. So it was awesome. And everyone wanted to take a picture with him. So it was cool. So I got to always outdo myself. So coming up, I think I mentioned before, V. Neil's going to have a show called V's Vampire Weekend coming up in February. And I'm probably going to have a space there and do some demonstrations there, something creature of the night related, and move on from there and figure out what my next thing is going to be for the next Monsterpalooza, which will be in the same spot. So I like staying close to home and doing really fun, cool things. So
yeah, I saw your Terminator demo from last year, which looked unbelievable.
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way.
Well, what's great about that is because I worked with Stan Winston on many occasions, his studio, and V. Neil as well, with Edward Scissorhands, and and other shows. We decided to kind of, because V's got her cinema, her makeup, her Legends makeup school that I was teaching at for a while. So promoting that, we decided to do an Edward Scissorhands makeup and a Terminator makeup. Both of which we had worked with the Stan Winston studio, and Matt Winston, who has the Stan Winston Studio of Creative Arts. They have their channel and they have makeup classes and lessons and demonstrations. Matt asked me to do a full Terminator video for their school, so that demonstration alone led to an affiliation with Stan Winston School.
Oh.
Awesome.
So I did a 2-part video, and it's long. It's like 6 hours long each part, on the prep of the Terminator makeup, the history behind the Terminator makeup, and then the next day, we shot the filming of the makeup, step by step. I mean, they moved the cameras in and got every little bubble I glued down and every little thing, every little hair I glued into place. So, and people would watch in person while we shot it. So a question would come out while I'm working and I could answer that question on the spot. So it had a live feed when we filmed it. And then again, it was made into a DVD form and a Blu-ray form. So people wanted to purchase it. They can purchase it, keep it, watch it at their own leisure. They don't have to sign on and keep it in their collection of, information. Mm-hmm. So, there's talk about doing another video form of another interesting character, and it was really a fun way to present a makeup that I worked with a lot. Jeff Dawn, who had been with Arnold since the very first makeup on the first Terminator film. Jeff and I got in the union together, and his grandfather was like the makeup department head on The Wizard of Oz, so he's like a multi-generation in the makeup business. Well, Jeff and I are good friends. We've worked together. He called me in to do Terminator 2. And, he and I double teamed Arnold. And then, of course, Terminator 3 comes around years later and we did it again. And basically, when you work double teaming like that, you get your actor out of the chair quicker. You've got, 2 sets of eyes looking at it for, keeping everything, cohesive in the makeup. And we work really well as a team. And because I'm more of the lab guy, I would prep a lot of the pieces and get them ready. And then, of course, I started doing Terminator demonstrations on my own, which led to this other demonstration that I did at the show and then continued on for the one that I did for the Stan Winston channel. So I enjoy that portion of it. Jeff's off doing other movies and stuff right now. I think he's in Budapest doing something.
Oh, wow.
But,
Very nice.
he's semi-retired. I'm semi-retired, so, we keep in touch. And it's nice that I was able to be connected with Jeff and with the Stan Winston studio for quite a long time. And, and Stan was, around back then. So it was great. When I first moved out here, I met Stan early, within the first few weeks in California. I met Stan Winston, Rick Baker, Bob Schiffer, the department head at Disney, Tom Berman, the department heads at NBC, CBS. So I was making the rounds relatively as quick as I could to sink my teeth into this business. And, in 1979, that was the perfect time for me. That was the blossom of, the special effects and the slasher movies and the Star Wars films and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of stuff that went on. I was kind of in this business right in the, I guess, a renaissance of makeup effects, before digital came along and CGI. Everything had to be done practical. You're hiding in a hole somewhere, squirting blood through a tube, or pulling a string to make something wiggle on somebody. So it was great. It's a great time to be in the business and learn it from the masters, who a lot of them aren't around anymore. So it leaves me next in line to pass it on. Rick Baker does a thing on Instagram. He shows stuff that he's doing, and in his own environment, and I like doing mine as well.
I think because, like you're saying, you've got that experience. That's what makes this channel such a great idea to then pass that knowledge on to the people who are now coming up in that. But you're saying like you're doing this for the up and comers. Have you had much feedback from people who are learning and still trying to get into the industry?
I think I'm getting some. Not, I'd want people to ask questions, and I don't want to sound desperate for viewers. But I think there's a niche of people out there who want to know how this stuff happens and how it works. And, I always reminded myself and other people I worked with, whenever I hear someone complaining about, I'm so tired of this, I go, you know what? There's a million people who wish they had our job. They just wish that they could do what we do. And we should respect that. We're tapped. And if you succeed and you do well and you make a good living at it, and the byproduct, if you're recognized by your peers, that's a wonderful thing. And, so many of the artists in my business are just like worker bees. Boy, they get out there and they do the work, and some of them don't get recognized for what they do, and some do. And I think it's important, even if I go on a job and someone's doing a plain old straight beauty makeup, I like to find interest and let those people know, especially if I'm in a supervisory position, that, you're valuable. You offer a great service for what you're doing, because it takes a lot of people to put this business together. All these different spaces, I would never try to attempt to do massive amounts of high fashion beauty makeup. It's not my thing. Yeah, I can kind of swim in those waters, but I choose to do a different type of, creative work. So we all have our niches, and I know that a lot of people wish they could do it, but I think that having a channel that offers, at least from my point of view, and the stories and the hills that I had to climb and the pitfalls that came along the way is important, because the generation that's coming out now didn't have the same opportunity to learn the craft that I did. The people who gave it to me, the Dick Smiths, the John Chambers, the Tom Bermans, the Stan Winstons, the Rick Bakers, those people have now moved on, and they're not here to give it to the next group. So it's up to me and people of a similar caliber to pass it on to the next group. And Dick Smith had this really great philosophy that, nothing is secret. Share your information, because you share it and someone's going to say, hey, have you ever tried this? And then that's going to give you more fuel for making a better product later down the line. So sharing our information amongst ourselves is real important. to make our craft grow. And basically, we're competing with AI and CGI. So the things that we can do physically to create the magic on screen that people love and enjoy is real important. And, people have a short attention span. People might not want to sit in a workshop with their music in their ears and sculpt 10 hours a day and make molds that take 2 or 3 days to make. But if we don't pass it to the next generation, no one's going to know how to do it. And what if all of a sudden all the 3D printers crapped out and no one could use their 3D printers or their scanners to do the craft that we have cultivated up until that point of new technology? If you know the old ways to do things, you're going to know how to survive. Your iPhone doesn't work on an island somewhere. You need a coconut and a string to talk to someone across the
It's funny, like you sort of segued beautifully for me there. It was great because I did want to ask, since we last spoke, we had the major thing last year with all the strikes going on in Hollywood because of AI and everything like that. And I was going to ask, is this a concern to your industry, like going forward, or will the practical thing always be there, do you reckon?
I think, how do I place this? I actually made a remark yesterday with somebody. The job that I did yesterday was basically bruising people post plastic surgery. Those are hands-on little things that you have to, bruising and stuff like that, and people had bandages on. Those are things that a makeup artist probably will never be replaced for. But if you have an actress who was big in when they were 40s, but now they're 60 and they want to look 40, they have the technology to put a digital pass and make them look younger. We see it happen. The whole, what are they calling it now? I don't know if you've seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger as Julie Andrews singing "The Hills Are Alive," The Sound of Music.
Yes.
That's uncanny. That is uncanny. But people don't want to watch a video game.
No.
They want to see the real thing. So I think the corrective makeup and the skilled, putting a fake beard on somebody, a fight sequence where two actors are fighting and gradually through the scene, they get a split lip and then they get a broken nose and then they get a cut eye. Those types of things will always be important to have. But of course, I've been on many jobs, and this is years ago, where you have 100 extras and they film that 100 extras in a space. And they do what's called tiling, where they take that and they increase it to 10,000. So you can have 100 people in the frame, and then they put them way back there and way over here and over here on a hilltop, and the camera can pull back and you virtually see thousands of people when you only really did 100. So that technology has already been there, and I think that will continue to be used. If you saw, the Mandalorian, and the making of the Mandalorian, you go on a soundstage and they can put an entire atmosphere, and you can be on any planet in the galaxy in the background while they're filming. So that thing will be there. But I think as a makeup artist, as a case carrying makeup artist, it's a craft that people should learn well, not take for granted, but will be around for a long time. And even if they do put that digital pass, to make the vintage actress look young again, it's going to look old after a while, and people will become savvy to it. Wait a minute, I saw Meryl Streep on the news and she doesn't look like that. So you can fool people some of the time, but not all the time. So I think our business is still going to be out there. It's going to change and go up and down. I use Chat GPT to write some of my scripts a bit, and set up some of the first things that I did, with a little teleprompter that I built with my 3D printers. So I use that technology, but I found once I got started and over the hump, I don't need that anymore. It kind of sparked what I needed to use, and that's what I need to do. How do I talk to the camera? I just talk just like I'm talking to you. Once you get comfortable, you don't feel the need to lean on the AI portion of it. Now, for designing cool artwork and stuff like that. There's a whole thing now, people's art being stolen and turning into digital artwork. That's always going to happen. And people are going to take an image, project it on a piece of paper, trace it off, repaint it a little bit differently, and it becomes a new piece of art. The AI has just turned it into something that happens in seconds. I came up in this business, I thought I was going to be a commercial artist. And the one thing in commercial art is you use all aspects. You use cameras, you take photographs, you transfer them onto paper, you embellish it with your own hand. Those are what commercial art is about. You use the tools to make the final product. A famous artist like Frank Frazetta and Boris, who did all the fantasy artwork, they had models who would dress in some kind of clothing, and they would take pictures and use those pictures as reference, and then repaint the picture. So they used the technology of the day. Most of the techniques that I learned in my commercial art studies are obsolete now. I learned how to do pill and stick letters and do paste up ads and techniques now, which you can use a computer to do. When Photoshop came along, it was a game changer. And now beyond Photoshop or environment, programs that create a whole environment that you can work in. Where I live in Burbank, we have a multiple amount of studios around us. Warner Brothers is up the street, NBC Studios, Universal Studios, Disney Studios. 2 blocks up at the end of my block was an old studio they called the Ranch. And it had old streets that they filmed Christmas Vacation on and Bewitched, the TV series. And they're just fake houses from the front with little neighborhood streets they would shoot exterior scenes in. They leveled that about 2 years ago, down to the ground. And now cropping up before my very eyes, the only time I'll see it in my lifetime, they're building a whole new studio with 16 state-of-the-art sound stages. They're going to use the highest technology they can to create work for the new industry that's building up in Hollywood. With all the strikes that have happened and the concern about AI and CGI and all of that, I think that they're going to come together and reinvent themselves to use all the tools to create something that hopefully done right you can produce better material for less money and everyone still can make a living. I'm crossing my fingers that happens. But they've built these 16 sound stages in a matter of months. They pour a big slab of concrete, stand it up, take another one, put it there with a crane. I haven't seen one person with a nail and a hammer and a piece of wood out there building anything. It's just cranes stacking like Lego parts, building these sound stages. It's madness to see a whole studio being built before your eyes when most of the studios that I've walked around my entire career were built back in the 30s and 20s.
We're talking about the technological advancements and stuff like that, but are there any techniques or things you learned back when you were growing up and starting in the whole industry that you still use now, even regardless of how far things have come?
Yeah, we're still using airbrush. Airbrush makeup was originally used for illustration. And the first time I believe it was ever used was in Blade Runner on Daryl Hannah. On Daryl Hannah, she had kind of a makeup design on her face. And I think they put stencils on and they sprayed paint on her face. And then later on, I did a movie called Spaceballs.
Oh.
And they had these little characters in it. And the makeup artist called me up and said, "Steve, I need you for a few days. We're doing these little characters and we're going to use airbrush. You have airbrush?" I said, "Sure." Because I used to use it to paint rubber masks and stuff.
Yeah.
So I come in and the guy's got this new product. He's explaining to me and he shows this whole new product to me, the water-based thing, and you can airbrush it. You can clean it. It doesn't clog up your brushes. So we used it on Spaceballs, and then cut to Beetlejuice comes along. And V. Neal and I were talking about the look that Tim Burton wanted for these background characters. And she described them as he wanted them multiple colors and like a piece of candy in a candy bowl. I just remember her saying, he wants them to look like a piece of candy. And I said, "You know what? I've got the right product for you." So I arranged for this gentleman, Dennis Hoy, who had created this product. He came over and we had a little seminar. He showed us how to use the product and we adopted it. So all those characters in the background in the afterlife we used airbrush makeup on. And we just handpicked other makeup artists who were, skilled in using an airbrush, and body makeup artists who could put all the base down, and then everything else could be shaded and painted on with an airbrush. It was a time saver. It gave a whole new, mythical, magical look to everything. And then up until that point, airbrush had been dabbled in, but at that point, that was the most airbrush had ever been used on a film. Cut to the Star Trek TV series comes on, and all the makeup artists are using airbrush over there. So it exploded. Airbrush is used on everything now. Airbrushing color and hair, airbrushing body makeups. You can't go to a trade show now without someone having their body sprayed. It's a time saver. It's a whole new technique. And there's some great artists out there who are not even makeup artists. They're good illustrators. And now those people have entered into the body painting, which is, for trade shows. I mean, it may be a car show, but if you have a naked girl who's silver on a platform being painted with just pasties and a G-string, people are going to line up to watch and see that new car and the naked girl with paint on her. So what we do, I think, translates into the regular world. And, I think that we live in a world where the Pandora's box is open. The magic is out. A lot of people know how makeup is done and what we do to get it there. And now that AI and CGI is there, and shows like this where people talk about what they do and how we do it, is always going to be there. So I find it's a great place to kind of jump on the bandwagon to show people. And like I mentioned before, I do this for my grandkids, and they can watch it when I'm not around anymore, or even don't feel like doing it anymore.
Oh,
it's kind of our legacy,
Legacy.
and have some fun stuff in there along the way.
You should sorry to interrupt. I do apologize. I was just
Go
going to
ahead.
say you should do those videos where it's like makeup from the 50s, then the 60s, and just show the development and how it's like progressed to now.
Yeah, there's some old good makeup books that are out there that I'll just collect dust. No one pays attention to them anymore. But there's some gems in those makeup books. There's a book called Making a Monster, which came out right when I arrived in Hollywood around the late 70s. And it basically went chapter by chapter of the originators of makeup, way back to Lon Chaney and all the makeup artists who have influenced the industry. And, I think that the information in that book is good to teach the history of makeup to even the current makeup artists who don't know the history. I mean, sometimes I'll be talking about a makeup artist. I'll say a name of a makeup artist from like the 30s or 40s, and they won't even know who I'm talking about. Well, I think there's a great opportunity, at least for me, I could almost take that book and do a talk on every chapter in that book to get the information of the history of makeup and how it was used and what they did. And the true good makeup geniuses out there have dove into that pool and grabbed those little bits of things and then modernized them and used them.
Yeah.
Lon Chaney used to put hooks in his nose and pull his nose up and pull the strings over his head and put a wig over it and put putty over it to get a deformed look. And in London After Midnight, he made little monocles that would fit in his eyes to hold his eyes open and then conceal it with makeup. So, and that's uncomfortable. But, those techniques have been, grabbed and utilized to create some really cool characters. One recent one, Greg Cannon did a really cool makeup on Mason Verger for, the second, I think in Hannibal. Hannibal. And it was Gary Oldman, whose face had been like cut off and put back on. And Gary had one eye, literally his eye was wide open, like he had no eyelids. Well, Greg developed a little mechanism that went under the prosthetics to pull his eye down from both directions with a little tube that was concealed under the prosthetics. So in between takes, he could relax the tension. So Gary could just go about his time with this difficult makeup to wear. And Greg, when it's time to film, could pull everything and stretch his face open, put the contact lens in, and it gave the illusion he had no eyelids. So those techniques taken from like the old Lon Chaney techniques.
Yeah.
I'm sure many other artists have used those kind of, bits of magic to upgrade and use for their techniques. So there's a lot to be learned from the old way of doing things. And I love teaching those things because I'll be pulling stuff out of my pocket, and a current makeup artist goes, "Where did you get all that? How did you figure that out?" And I go, "Hey, it's old information. I just took it and regurgitated it out in my version of it." So there's something to be said by learning and understanding and, keeping true to you the knowledge that we've come across. It's history. You can't forget about the history.
No.
And you can't rewrite it. It's there, and it's there for the borrowing and the taking and the good use that you can put it to.
Yeah. And I can imagine in schools in years and years to come, they'll be showing Steve LaPorte videos on history of makeup. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be doing like essays about you and stuff.
Oh crap! I don't know. I don't really have a big head about that. I just, if it's my legacy to give it up. Rick Baker recently, last year I got an award from my union, a Life Achievement Award.
I was just about to segue into that. That was beautiful.
Look at that. and Rick was the presenter, which I was very flattered to have. And his last comments was that, my next chapter in life was to pass it on to the next generation. And that's kind of what I feel compelled to do. I can still go on set and work, but I think I've done enough of it. I've worked with the best actors, the best directors, the best makeup artists that I possibly could work with. I'm happy to be kind of on the sidelines, enjoying the new talent that's out there, and give, whatever I can, whether it's in story form of challenges that I had and how I overcame those challenges. And when you kind of come up with makeup through the late 70s, 80s, 90s, there's a lot of bumps in the road, and you take your knocks and you see the challenges and the things that go on, and you try this new product that burns someone's skin. Oh, can't use that anymore. Well, you've been put in harm's way enough that you could see the bull coming into the china shop before it gets in. You may be like, "Stop right there. Let me give you some advice." That's kind of what I'd like to do. I think it'd be really, really great to develop a format where I give a little talk at the beginning of my videos and then do a how-to and then wrap it up with a story. And that way people know what to expect. Every time they sign on, they're gonna hear a story, they're gonna hear some good advice, and they're gonna learn how to do something and take it away that they can, apply it to what they're doing. And that's kind of where I'm headed and where I want to go. So
going back to that award, like you're saying, Rick Baker gave you that award, like presented that award to you. That must have meant a lot considering how long you've known Rick and like the things he's done in his career.
It does, and when I met Rick, I got his phone number from Tom Berman. He gave me his phone number. I called him at home and bothered him at home with a few phone calls, and he agreed to see me. And I popped over to his house, and he came around the side of the house, barefoot, working in the shop. And he's still working home. He didn't have a studio yet. And I was just some ex-circus clown with a bunch of rubber noses and a couple of masks that I had made. And he took the time to give me some advice and say, you need to come back in about a year, go home and work on some stuff and do this, this, and this. And I took that advice at heart. And then over the years, he recommended me for this job, or I'd work on a show, and he was the department head of the showrunner, the designer of the show. So we crossed paths many times, and I'd see him once I got into makeup or in the academy, the Motion Picture Academy. I would see him at meetings, and we would have discussions with other artists about, certain makeup techniques and challenges and, things people had done and, for choosing the Academy Award. So I was deep into that for over 20 years. So I knew Rick over the years, and for him to basically volunteer the union to give me that, I was very flattered. and very honored by that. They always say, you have a famous actor give you your award, you did a makeup on. You go, well, yeah, I reached out to a few actors who I'd had a close working relationship with. Many of them were busy or on location or couldn't make it. And I was pretty much trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? And then I got word that Rick had pretty much thrown his, hat in the ring to do that. And I was very honored and very flattered that he did that. And we sat at the table together and had dinner. I brought my family with me, and it was a nice place to be and a nice recognition by my peers. I mean, I was nominated 3 times before they finally chose me, which I'm still flattered by. I'm just a regular old nose to the grindstone guy, just pushing ahead, trying to elevate my craft. And they chose me out, and I was very honored by it. And to have Rick be there was another great honor. And, we see each other. He lives close by, and we've gotten together for lunch a couple of times and shared information. And it's nice. It's nice that when you're done with the rat race of trying to climb that hill, into the business, and you have nothing else to worry about. You want nothing from anybody else, and all you want to do is give back. I'm at a nice place in my life that I can just share fun information and stories with some of my fellow artists who aren't on the battlefield anymore. So it's great. This is let's see. Oh, you see my statue back here? Oh, here it is.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. That's cool. Isn't that neat?
That's
awesome.
amazing. That is amazing.
So that's cool. I got one from the Guild a few years ago for Breaking Bad, for best makeup on Breaking Bad. And it's got a marble base. It's really heavy. So this is a beautiful wood base. So I got 2 versions of this award, this is kind of cool. Not that I'm a collector of paperweights, but what are you going to do with it when you're done? Your kid's going to be stuck with it. So it's nice to get acknowledged.
Oh, I'd be showing it to everyone if I had something like that, so don't worry about it.
I try to remain humble.
All I'll say, fully deserved, Steve. Fully deserved.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely.
It was a good chapter, and it did certainly. I felt like it just kicked me right out of the union and right into my teaching career. The next thing, so it was a good. Put me in the cannon and shoot me out and see who wants to learn. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
I suppose people get concerned with like sharing stuff because they're like, "Well, you're going to steal it. People are going to steal it. So don't tell them anything because So that was the thing. When you talked about earlier about how like it's always good to share information for the next generation to come up and that sort of thing. But I think a lot of people get like they want to gatekeep, don't they? Like no, because I thought of this. This is how I do things. I don't want anyone else to know how I do it.
Well, too, I find it really interesting whenever I have a process. I'll show that process that will allow people to achieve their goal. But I always leave a few elements out of the recipe because I know that if they dig deep enough, they're going to put their own element in. So they'll own part of it for themselves.
Yeah.
It's like changing a lyric in a song. You're reading a song, but you leave a few lyrics out. You leave one line out and you let them fill in the blanks. So the way I teach is I'll talk to someone, then I'll say, well, what would you do? What would you do? So part of what I want to do is challenge people to, okay, hey, we're going to sculpt this and I'm going to do this much, but then the rest is up to you. Now I want to see what you do in a week and then come back and show me. So
Right.
I like that element because I think that gets those gears turning. Otherwise, you're just copying things. And I think that to give people the freedom and the help and guidance is important. And when they can come up with the ways combined with what they do, it's a good way to learn things. Yes, you mix a certain chemical a certain way and you have to have 10 parts of B and 8 parts of C. That's important. But the way you go about doing certain things, there is a creative part of it. And that's what's wonderful about, the field that I chose is there's so much creativity of it. It's not, It's got to be done this way, this way, this way. There's room for adjustment. It's flexible. You know, you can blow up a balloon and then you can blow it up a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and then it bursts. You know, I just give them enough so they can blow it up right before the balloon bursts, you know, and that way they feel, wow, that's really cool. And they can still acknowledge for what you gave them and then have some ownership of their own. And I think it's a great way to learn.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the best way to teach, like you say, because it's, oh,
I mean,
incredible.
you know, I'm the kind of guy, people always make jokes, you know, the old MacGyver thing. You take something that's inanimate and you turn it into something. So I like to MacGyver things. And they call it LaPorting it in my circle. Oh, Steve's over, he's LaPorting that thing. I see him, he's changing that thing a little bit, you know. But that's, you know, I like it. You know, one of my handles I use online is Makeup MacGyver, because it is about being an inventor and a magician and a creator and an artist and all those things together. Because as soon as you think you've got it all figured out, some director is going to say, hey, can we do this tomorrow? Tomorrow or this afternoon after lunch? And you go, okay. Well, if you're not trained to create and pull things out of your own experiences to alter something, give them what they want, you're in trouble. Yeah. And you fail a couple of times and they're not going to call you on your next job. But if you say, I'll give it my best shot and you please them, it's great. You know, I did a medical show, my last big show that I did, and I did a series called Code Black, and it was a medical show, a lot of on camera, cutting open people, manipulating the heart, you know, fixing eyes that poked out, all this stuff. And it's fairly graphic, and amazingly, a lot of it got on screen. But I was really plugged into it because of my background, working on shows like ER, working with an artist like Tom Berman, who had done a lot of medical procedures for nip tuck and for Grey's Anatomy and stuff. I was able to tap into that experience and knowledge and bring it to what I had to do within a budget, because a wonderful artist who took over Tom Berman's studio, Vincent Van Dyke, had access to all of those stock molds from all those medical shows. So I brought Vincent on board to build my big prosthetics, my big body parts and things from existing molds. So the cost factor went down. So I was able to produce high quality products with existing molds. Some we did custom, but with Vincent doing some of the heavy lifting in the lab and me running the show and the on-set application, you know, and tweaking things as they came. And that gave me the freedom to create something new and fresh, you know, for television, which is rare, because 90% of the stuff you film in the effects realm of blood and gore ends up on the floor for television. They can't show it. There's standards and practices that doesn't allow it. So you try to, you know, manipulate it in such a way, you know, you use dark blood that's not bright on dark clothing, so it's not so, you know, so frightening to the eye, and you know, people are squeamish about stuff. So you try to work and weave through that hallway of what works. But I think, how does that fall into the question you just asked me? Yeah, I mean,
no idea, but it was great.
Yeah, well, boy, it doesn't take long to send me down a rabbit hole.
But Steve, I was going to say, when we last spoke, we learned so much about you and your career as a whole, but we didn't really get much time to talk about any of the actual movies you'd worked on.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was wondering if we could go into detail just on a couple of them, just learn a bit more about your experience on that one. Because first off, the one you won the Oscar for, Beetlejuice. What was that like working with Tim Burton? Because when it comes to visual styles, he's the man. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, and Tim, you know, V. Neal was, you know, she was, you know, lead point on that film. We were working on a commercial together with Tom Berman, putting faces on actors to look like Rodney Dangerfield. We were doing this beer commercial, a Miller Lite commercial, and you know, Rodney Dangerfield, spaceship lands and Rodney Dangerfield comes out, and he's like 20 Rodney Dangerfields. So we're doing that on a film lot, and we walk down the street for lunch, and V sees a production office for Beetlejuice. And she goes, I know the producer of that show. So she goes in, and I follow her in, and gets an intro to Tim Burton. And I said, okay, you talk. I'm going to go downstairs and grab a coffee. By the time she came out, she goes, we're doing this movie.
What?
And so it had just, boom, it kind of happened. And she knew Paul Rubens. Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman,
Yes.
was a friend of hers. And I knew Paul from V bringing him over to my house early in my career to make some fake teeth for him. So knowing Paul having done having done Pee-wee's Big Adventure with Tim, it kind of came full circle. I know someone and then and V's very creative. So once we were established doing Beetlejuice, and of course we had worked on Lost Boys together, it kind of ran its course, and we were doing makeup tests for 2 weeks before Beetlejuice ever started filming. And Michael was only there for 2 weeks. He came on, basically, he kind of wanted to hide under the radar and be this character that no one knew who he was. And they just wanted to focus on Beetlejuice as a character, not Michael Keaton playing a character.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot out now because of the new movie coming out, which, by the way, no one ever called us about. Thank you very much.
I was going to ask that, actually.
No, that's okay. I mean, I always thought if they ever make another one, maybe we'll get asked to do it before you retire. But, that ship sailed, and they shot the whole thing in the UK anyway. Tim kind of started shooting a lot of his stuff over there. So I'm sure they did a fine job and, took it to the next level, and it should be fun. But it's nice to know that we designed it and created the character. But
that's what I was going to ask. Yeah. You thought, okay, even if you guys weren't working on it, you maybe had been consulted on how you did the things to get the look in the first place.
Nope. But that's okay. There's a lot of pictures around, I guess they used. Teeth don't look the same. He's older. He's been through a rough patch.
Let's go this image of you pausing the train and be like, nope. You got that wrong, didn't you?
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, give a chance for someone else,
Of course.
We're actually, V and I are going to do a demonstration at a screening of the original Beetlejuice in November at a theater. We're going to do we have an actor who portrays Beetlejuice at trade shows and for other events, and we've been using him consistently. So, I made a prosthetic for him. I made the teeth for him and everything. So we've done that makeup several times for demonstrations. So we're going to present that before the screening of the original Beetlejuice in November. So I'm not sure how it's going to coincide with the release of the new film. Maybe it'll be just before. I'm trying to think they're going to do maybe a Halloween release. We'll see. But, so we're still alive and creating that character that, we created together. And hey, man, that's nice. That's our Frankenstein. Yeah. Jack Pierce created Frankenstein, and he created it, and it was done by many artists after that, but he created it. So at least, I think we can take pride that, we created the Beetlejuice character, and the life that it lives and continues is great. Hell, they made cartoons out of it. And,
yes, they did.
Look at this. Hang on. Look, I got a Beetlejuice coffee mug.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing.
My grandson knows who Beetlejuice is. So, I mean, it's cool to have under your belt a character you helped create.
Yeah.
So that's fun. And, I knew Gina Davis from other job that I'd worked with her on. Winona was just a young sprite, 14 when we did that show. And Alec Baldwin had come off of, I think he'd been doing a TV series where he played kind of a strange guy. And, a lot of the people we didn't know. I knew Jeffrey Jones from his work on, what was it? Oh, Amadeus. He played the king on Amadeus. Catherine O'Hara, from, SCTV and stuff. And I had, so we all became interconnected later in life. I ended up working in a lot of films with John Candy, who was friends with Catherine. So we had a connection there. And V did other movies with Tim where he consistently used other characters. Johnny, Johnny Depp, of course, was one of Tim's main pulls for characters.
Yeah.
And then V continued with Johnny. I went my own direction and did other things. But, Beetlejuice was definitely a hallmark of our work. And I was young. We got the Oscar when I was 34. Very young in your career to be recognized and kind of put up against my mentors. Tom Berman and Tom and Barry Berman were there for Scrooged and Rick for Coming to America. So I was honored to be in that group of people. And I don't really looking at it as that we won over their work, is that we were chosen. We're all winners. And I respectfully think of it that way. So I don't think I beat out anybody or we beat out anybody. I just think that I'm just honored that we were chosen that year, and it helped my career. It elevated my career. For one thing, the bar had been set high. I could only do high quality work from that point on, and really focus and make that effort, come true and give what is expected of me. And that made me a better artist.
Yeah.
So that was a good one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And another one I wanted to ask about, Terminator 2, like one of the most iconic films of all time, easily the greatest sequel film of all time. That film has so many iconic scenes and looks, not just with Arnie, with Robert Patrick and his performance. Was there a particular piece on that you really enjoyed working on?
Well, the process anyway. I'd worked on a couple of projects with Arnold and Jeff Dawn before. I worked on a movie called what was that called? A Running Man.
Yeah,
I did Running Man with Jeff, and of course, we double teamed Arnold, get all the dirt and crud on him, and then there were other characters in the film. I did like the first month of that film, and then I went away and did something else, and then came back and did the end of it, where we had prosthetics on Richard Dawson, where he's going through the tube and the speed is going fast and her face is starting to stretch back. We had prosthetics that we pulled tabs under the prosthetics to stretch the skin back. So we did effects like that. But having worked with Arnold on that made it a comfortable, easy position to step in on Terminator 2 and double team him with Jeff. He already knew me. I was a familiar face. And he was just coming off of Kindergarten Cop before we started it. So while Jeff was continuing to do things on Terminator 2 at the beginning, I went with Arnold for a week back to finish Kindergarten Cop on some additional footage. So I think that gains your credibility with your actor you're working with, because they have to trust you. And, we each had our own job. We double teamed Arnold. Jeff watched him on the set. I would do the photo double or the stunt double, or I would jump over and do Robert Patrick, who was very quiet on that show. He was just very focused, like the T-1000, didn't talk much, pretty quiet guy. And I've worked with him since then, and he's really outgoing and a different person. I go, man, you were so different back on Terminator 2. He goes, hey man, I just wanted to be the guy, the Terminator. I didn't want to be anything else. So I just really kept my eyes straight forward. But that was really cool, because when we did that and had our first meeting with Jim Cameron, Jim had an office over here by the Burbank Airport. And it's right after The Abyss had come out and gained a lot of attention, with that water tentacle thing that you saw.
Yes.
I remember that.
A long time since I've seen that film, but I think I know.
Yeah, and there's a scene where it takes on, Mary Elizabeth Mastantonio touches the water and it turns into her face. It morphs into her face.
Yes.
And it changes shape. And when we went in to meet Jim, and I saw all these really cool models of, the space, the ships from Terminator 2 that are going to be built, the small models that they had kind of built better than the original movie, you didn't see that stuff. Now he was going into the behind story and the creation of it. So we got a good chance to see what was going to happen in this movie. And we looked at, film footage from The Abyss. He goes, okay, we're going to take this, we're going to do this with it in this movie. So, and as we're filming it, Jim would come in and he goes, hey, gather around everybody. I'm going to show you the scene we shot 2 months ago. And we saw the scene where the crash in the channel with the truck, and the flames go up, and you see the silver Terminator walk out of the flames and turn into Robert Patrick, and he walks on. When we saw that, we go, holy crap, this is going to be really cool. And then the scene where he's in the helicopter and he breaks the window with his helmet and it breaks open. He goes, get out. And he melts into the helicopter. We saw that footage while we were filming. It's literally everyone gathered around and watched this. And we're filming a scene, and we took a break to watch the stuff as it came out of editing. So that was the really fun ride, is to see all the cool elements that were going to happen. And then when we finished, that was a 6-month shoot. And we took a break, and I went on and did another movie, pickup shots, while they were still filming. It's a little, car chase stuff inside, funny camera angles, things that only required one artist to be there. So I was off doing another film, and then they had a very short window to release the film. And when that movie came out, it was like, holy moly, glad my name is on that. Because I was, boy, the universe tapped my shoulder and says, here's some really cool projects you can work on. And this is going to not only boost your career, but boost your understanding of your craft and see what's possible and all that stuff. The way, I had a couple of conversations with Jim Cameron that just opened my mind to the way things work and how you do things and how you create cinemagic, on the screen. So, and I never forgot that stuff. Your attention to detail, your attentiveness on the set, how to pay attention. Never look away from that camera, because you can see a mistake that gets filmed, and if you don't fix it before it gets filmed, you have no excuse. So I learned, Cameron can be a tough cookie to work with. He's kind of a perfectionist, but it raised the bar on what you do. And Jeff Dawn, as a makeup department head, he's really meticulous on the paperwork, on the budgeting, and how to do stuff. And I picked up a lot of really good stuff from him. You just learn, I'm a sponge when I'm on a set. I can learn anything from the most seemingly menial makeup artist doing the nothing over here, and all the big stuff is going over here. I like to go over and see what some people may think is the non-interesting stuff, because you can always learn something from it. It all works together. So and there were a lot of interesting things on Terminator that, and in Terminator 3 again, 10 years later, we got to revisit some stuff and use some better techniques and different things. And although the makeup won an Academy Award for T2, I think we did some better stuff on T3. Yes, but because it was it was a rehash, more of the same view that, the judgment of that, didn't get recognized. But that's okay. It's still cool stuff. And T2 was a benchmark.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The other thing that stands out to me as well regarding your level of work with T2 is that blend of special effects, computer generated, and the practical side of it. Like we mentioned earlier, Xander Berkeley. That scene with the sword hand, I don't know what to describe it as, going through his neck. Like, it's clearly computer animated, but that is there. Like,
there's a tiny bit. I mean, that rig, when they had that thing, it's like a switchblade. And, Xander had to sit just right so he could get the noise and all those things. I mean, to get it. So there's seamless editing. It was tricky. And I remember that. We shot that at night in this little house. And it was like hours lining it up and getting it ready. And Stan Winston's guys were all there with their rigs. And we're lining Xander up. And then, and the whole thing with the wife pulls her hand up and her hand goes, it stretches. She had an arm that turned into a blade. We had a fake arm on her, so we got to see what the final product would look like. And then when you see it in the show, you go, oh, that's how they did it. So all the props were important. When they blew up Robert Patrick, the liquid nitrogen gets on him, and he goes, "Hasta la vista, baby," and shoots him, and he just shatters into pieces. We shot that as a practical prop, And then CGI comes in and you see like the liquid mercury on the ground bubbling and slowly crawling together, and it connects all those things. So we shot all the practical stuff, and then the magic happens that you don't see until the end of the movie. So that was exciting.
It's so clever how you blend the two. Like,
but it makes, you know what it does? It makes you think that way. So if you're in a conversation with a director 20 years later, you think that way. You think we do this much like this, and then we do this stuff over here like that. And I use that kind of verbiage to explain how we do an effect. And on my last show on Code Black, we had this conversation with the director of the pilot, and I'm explaining how we're going to shoot this dummy, but we're going to cut from the actor to the dummy and put someone on top of the dummy, pressing on it, doing chest compressions without hurting the actor because we're using a dummy, and we'll run some tubes. And I'm explaining all this, and he pauses and he goes, "Tell me something, are you a makeup artist or a filmmaker?" And I said, "I'm a fucking filmmaker, man." And he goes, "This is the guy I want on our show." And it's probably the only time I've ever been singled out at the end of the shoot. The director, after we finished the last shot, I've been hiding in the back of a car behind the driver's seat with my blood pump, squirting blood out of the actor. And I'm uncomfortable, my neck's sore, and I got blood all over me, and my crew is filling blood tanks for me. And we finished, that was the last night of shooting. And he's thanking everybody, and he called me over. I'm just kind of standing over getting my stuff. And he goes, "Steve, come here." And he calls me over, and in front of the whole crew, he kind of put me on a pedestal and acknowledged the work that I had provided to help create his vision and to help the audience see magic on screen. And he thanked me and acknowledged me in front of the whole crew. And that's never happened before. And I was very flattered and very honored to be singled out that way. And it doesn't happen too much. Sometimes, you're a big name in the business and you get acknowledged, on set when a really cool prop comes in. But consistently on that show, I was singled out and said, "Oh my God, this works so cool. And thanks, Steve." And all I could do is say, "Hey, it's me and all these people around me and all the people in the makeup lab that do that. And I'm taking the bow for all of us." And it's nice to get noticed and to understand the information it takes to create a vision for a director and a writer, to look at the written page and figure it out as you're reading it, how to do it. It only comes from years of experience and things that you've learned from other discussions and other things that happen and mistakes. So you don't make those mistakes, and you only, go through the finish line together. Yeah. And that's the great thing about this business. It's so fluid and ever changing and morphing as we go. It's great. I lived and worked at a great time in the business where a lot of practical with CGI and other things happened, and I'm very thankful for that. Because now a lot of stuff is just, they say, "Okay, we're not going to do a monster. We're going to do all we need is a green thing with dots on it, and we're going to do the monster, and it's going to show later." So, Planet of the Apes is a great example of how amazing the last Planet of the Apes films have been. They're all CGI, but because now they've managed, just like Avatar, to combine the actual movements of your actors with the animated realistic characters. You combined both things, so you actually get performance with the art as well. So that's really cool to see that. I can appreciate what they do. It'd be nice to see really cool makeups, but my God, the effort it takes to create makeups. If you look at the makeups that were done on the first Planet of the Apes, and then what Rick had to do on the second Planet of the Apes, the Tim Burton version, those makeups were groundbreaking. They were beautiful makeups. And to jump from that to full CGI, which kind of started with Gollum from Lord of the Rings, Andy Serkis, who played the main ape in the first Planet of the Apes. It was total CGI, and Andy now has gone on to direct second unit and done other things. So those are all building blocks that move our our actors and our creators and our artists to the next level.
It's amazing. And like,
it's been a great ride.
And after, like we were saying, I think that blend of the new school and the old school is the way forward. I feel you can't lose those techniques because they're just so special and they make cinema what they are. So if you can adapt it to modern perfect.
Yeah.
That's where you need to be.
And that's what I'm trying to do in my channel. Yeah, I want to share that knowledge and that information, the little tidbits of, those little hors d'oeuvres of information that I picked up along the way and share it with people before I forget it all.
The last one I want to pick your brains on, sir, because obviously it is getting on now. But as we record this right now, today is the 37th anniversary of the release of Lost Boys. Like, people still call that the greatest vampire movie of all time, and it's hard to deny it. Like, the effects are incredible, the look of the vampires in that film. What memories have you got from working on that?
Well, I'd known Greg Cannon from The Howling. And, of course, I knew V from just being friends and working on a little movie. She's worked with me on a little non-union film. But when we first got tapped for it, Greg was not involved yet. And V knew Joel Schumacher from other projects. And she was really pushing for Greg because some of the pre-designs had been done by Steve Johnson, who was a very good creative entity back then. And Steve was not on the same page as what Joel wanted. And the day we did a makeup test on, was it Brooke McCarter, who's no longer with us. See you, Brooke. It was basically, let's go to Greg's house and he's doing a makeup test and we're going to present both makeups on the same day at 2 different sound stages. So Joel can see one version here and another version here. And, and V working with Greg, and Greg had just done a movie about a year before called Vamp, which was, he had touched on that whole eyebrow, the brow and the cheekbone structure for a different vampire look, rather than the pale face, and the bloody trickles and the fangs, Greg had already previously started to develop that style and look. Well, when he developed it for that first makeup test and they chose the direction to go with it, and then he went back and redid it again while we were shooting all the non-makeup scenes up in Santa Cruz. And we came back and here are our prosthetics and here you go, boys, go for it. And we almost went in with very few makeup tests other than the very first test. And, there were 4 guys and V did 2 and I did 2 and we switched around and took turns and we had brought other guys on to do stunt doubles. So that whole stylized vampire became like a standard, which then Buffy the Vampire kind of took and ran with. The TV show Angel took it for like demonic characters. Even zombies now have this brow and the bone ridge around to create these faces. And I'm working on something right now with V, coming up with a vampire design that's, not to say lost boyish, but something new and fresh, subtle, that we can put on quickly. That's only on a couple of characters. And it's a low budget project that, and it's an independent film. So we have a chance now to kind of take what we've learned and what worked and what people like and present another version of vampire. And I'm just doing a little bit of the lab work and making some teeth and these little characters and a fake head and a few things, but it's another chance to revisit what we've learned about vampire movies and what works and what people like. So you can kind of pay homage to what has been done and still credit yourself for coming up with something new and fresh. It's challenging. Trust me. How many ways can you give people a furrowed brow, But, that's kind of, but that just did set a standard. And that was a fun movie, a great movie to work on. Joel was a fun director. The boys were great. It was just a fun gig. I think that's one of V's favorite movies that she ever did. And fortunately, I was there for the ride. It just started, my career took off like a frickin' rocket. And, and I, not to mention the fact I just got married and had a kid and adopted son. So I not only saddled myself with the challenge of getting into the film business, but I'm trying to raise and create a family at the same time. Yeah. So, man, it's been a ride. and I'm still married. I think 44 years coming up
Oh,
in April.
Steve, that is incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah, and I just became a great grandfather.
Oh,
in May.
congratulations!
Like a year ago. So
That's
my granddaughter for my son, she's 25 and she's had a baby, about a year ago. So
That's huge.
Incredible.
And the story keeps going.
Yeah.
Another victim for Halloween. So.
It's all about that legacy, my friend. It really
is.
It's absolutely phenomenal. I honestly, I could keep going for hours, but I'm not going to because
okay.
But this, I absolutely love talking to you. I absolutely love talking to you. It's amazing. But like I said, I think it's so important what you're doing with this channel to keep that incredible industry and the art you work in keep going. So if there are people who are going, Steve LaPorte interview, I'll watch that. If the people and they are getting into this industry, what's maybe, I don't know, a piece of advice or a hint you might give them going forward, other than to watch your YouTube channel, of course?
Well, first of all, learn your makeup history.
Yeah.
Learn the skills beyond makeup, how to put on prosthetics. I mean, you may be a great beauty artist. Learn to put on prosthetics, learn to put on beards, learn to create characters. Don't just say, I'm going to do eyelash and lipsticks. Be willing to push beyond that, because it may be a beautiful character, but there may be elements of a false nose or a false set of lips or a bald head that are part of it. So those are the crafts to learn. And if you want to be even more on the creative side, learn anatomy. Facial anatomy, learn some sculpting, take some sculpting classes, read some books. There's some great books that are coming out, anatomy for the sculptor, facial anatomy for the sculptor, or for the makeup artist to be. Those are things that are important. And also learn how to manage your money. Don't just be a dummy out there. Don't just put your money in charge of someone else. Be a bit of a psychologist, learn how to work, be a people person, learn how to not flap your jaws and just listen. You learn a lot more from listening than you do from talking, because that's part of the minefield. You can spout off and say your opinion one time too many, and next thing you know, you're not called back on the next film because you spouted off about something. Don't get political, don't get too personal. There's a trick when you're a lifesaver and you're swimming to rescue somebody. Before you reach out to save that person, you have to think, are they going to grab me and drag me down with them? You have to do what's called the reverse. You paddle just a little bit so you can get away if you have to, and then you save them. When you go into a movie, don't dive into the deep end of the pool without a floaty on, Yeah, really. Do your homework, get as educated as you can, practice as much as you can, learn as much as you can, be as broad as you can. Even if you're a regular, everyday makeup artist, learn to make your own little scars next to your station. What if you do a beauty makeup on an actress and you never think you're ever going to have to do anything, and then suddenly they write a scene, she has plastic surgery, and you've got to put scars and things on her face. What are you going to do? This is your actor. You're going to call a specialist in to do something you should know how to do? You don't know how to put a bald cap on, and you're going to hand your actor over to someone who knows how to do it? You need to learn everything. There's a young man, I'm really short here, there's a young man who's 10 years old. He goes to my daughter's a school teacher. She teaches second grade close by here in Burbank. And this little boy, 10 years old, his mother is a school teacher at a school down the street. And my daughter knew his mother from being a part-time teacher at that school. And she knew my daughter's dad was a makeup artist. And she said, you think your dad could talk to my son? He's really into makeup. He built this really elaborate costume. And, of course, my daughter told me about him. I go, how old is he? He goes, he's 10. I go, seriously? So this kid comes over. I invite him and his mom and dad over. And he had built this thing from the movie The Thing, the Rob Bottin thing, this morphed creature of 3 different creatures. He built himself, with hot glue and paper mache and rubber and foam. And he had pictures building it using tools and stuff at 10 years old. At 10 years old, most kids are just learning to play video games, you know?
Yeah.
This kid is focused, and he came over and I gave him some clay and a sculpture bust to design characters on. And I just went over to his house a couple of weeks ago to see how he's sculpting. He's sculpting this big werewolf head. And I go, you know, those are the kind of people you get when they're young, and you cultivate them and you give them the right path to follow. And I'm going to do a life cast of him this week before he goes back to 4th grade or however old he is, so he can have his own face cast. So, and I told Rick Baker about it, and Rick goes, well, if you think he's pretty good, bring him over to the house and I'll show him my stuff. So, you know, finding someone like that young and sending him on the right path, and hopefully he'll follow his own direction. Now, getting into the makeup business isn't as easy as it used to be. No. There's a lot of people who want to do it. It's a big field out there. So being a card-carrying, case-carrying makeup artist is a challenge. But the talent of understanding to work your computer skills, doing AI, CGI, 3D printing, Photoshop, all of those things, you know, ZBrush, all those things fall in line with a fully well-rounded artist in the business that we are in today. And that's what you want to be. You want to be really well-versed in everything you do and know how to take care of your finances and move forward so you have a full career in it. And I was fortunate enough that I got a full career from beginning to end. And I have a house, my cars are paid for, and I'm still creative. And I'm not starving to death, you know.
Which is the main thing.
But no. Yeah. Considering this whole conversation has been about nurturing the future of the industry, I couldn't think of a better story to bring this to a wrap on, my friend. That is phenomenal. I just heard the cat then. Mr. Stevens,
Thanks.
any more questions for our wonderful guest? I heard the cat then,
yeah. Steve, I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out and for, you know, asking to come back on so we could talk to you again and hear some more of your absolutely wonderful stories. I think what you're doing with the channel and passing on your knowledge and your skills onto the next generation of people, and, you know, doing it for your grandkids is admirable, and I salute you, sir. I think it's absolutely incredible. So
thank you.
Like,
well, you guys are my UK connection now, and we'll keep in touch. And I'll drop some bombs to you every once in a while. I'll send you that information we spoke about earlier about some other artists who you could benefit from, and they could definitely benefit from your questions and your sincere acknowledgement that you give, and I appreciate it. And you guys, you did your homework, and I salute you for it. And I had a great time.
Stop it! It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Steve. No, it's great. Thank you so much. But before we do let you get out of here, any plugs, social medias, any YouTube channels you want to plug at all?
I have TikTok, you know, Facemaker Factory on TikTok. I have Instagram, Facemaker Factory. Also, Steve LaPorte Facemaker. Anything Facemaker, you Google it, you'll find me. And the YouTube channel is growing. It's getting better. I'm going to open up a store soon, so I'll have a store to send people to. I mean, you know, people don't want to be sold stuff all the time. You know, I don't like a commercial on my YouTube channel, but it's what keeps it alive. And I would never sell people crap.
Yeah.
I never sell them a load of crap. I want them to do better at what they can do and be creative and be self-sufficient in what they do. There's some great things being made out there at trade shows, great Halloween store products. I want people to be intelligent and creative enough to make their own Halloween mask, to make their own prosthetics, to make up their kids, their family, friends, and join this creative field that I've chosen. And we're all, you know, some of us are face makers, some of us are just makers. But, you know, everything you can do to learn to be creative and not be stagnant, sitting at home, looking at a screen is a move in the right direction.
Yes.
So,
Steve,
great.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Great. We'll keep in touch. I'll shoot you some more stuff. And
yes, please.
See what else did one other thing I wanted to tell you, maybe off the cuff here. Yeah, I got a lot of crap I'm going to dig out. You know, we're going to revisit the David Lee Roth stuff.
Those pictures you sent me from last time. Oh, incredible.
Yeah, that was fun. And, you know, once I start opening up the coffers of my old molds and stuff, and I even want to I still have my old circus trunk in the attic from my years in the circus, and it's been a time capsule. So I want to sit down, open that trunk, and show people what's inside. So that's going to gain some stuff, and I'm going to do some old clown makeups on myself to show people what I used to do, how I got started. So those are little things that are going to come up as well.
It's amazing.
Cannot wait to see where this channel goes, my friend. I really can't.
Yeah, it'd be fun. So I need more viewers, man. Everyone go on and just sign on and be a follower. I'm at 315 followers now. I need more. I need more screen time watching. I need, I can crank videos out, but I can't get people to watch them. So I got to get people to watch. So your audience, come see me, and I'll send you some really cool stuff.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Perfect,
Steve, thank you so much,
Thanks,
my friend. Have an absolutely amazing day.
You too.
And
get some rest, Jamie, will you?
I think I need to. I don't know. I noticed the amount of times during this I was going, I'm just tripping over my own words. I know I need some rest.
All righty. We'll talk to you next time, and I'm going to go let the cat out.
Sounds like a plan.
Steve,
all
pleasure.
right.
Look
We'll
after
see
yourself, sir.
Cheers,
Take care.
Steve.
You bet.
See you
Take
later.
care. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're back. It's been 6 weeks.
Something like that. Feels like
It's been insane. It should be the 145th, but we've had birthdays, we've had festivals, we've had not a lot of time to do anything. It's been absolutely mental. This is like the worst period of time for Jamie because he has everything going on under the sun in the space of a month.
Yeah, pretty much. July and August are a write-off for me.
So we apologise for the fact that there's no show, but we're here. We're here. We're not queer. Don't get used to it. So yes. Anyway, Jamie, welcome back. It's weird. This it always feels like we should be waiting for somebody to turn up to interview.
I know. Yeah,
I mean?
It's like we've seen each other because we've done interviews in this time, but we've not done this for quite some time. So it's a bit weird.
We've not spoken and just blabbed shit at the screen out of nowhere. But apparently, you can now get salmon spunk injections in your face.
Oh, well, that's one way to welcome everyone back.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you just say what I think you just said?
So how did they even discover that this was good for you? Do you know what I mean? What scientist or some biological person just went, we need to work out what's good for Botox, what's good for the skin. Let's try salmon spunk. Do you know what I mean? And you just go, well, first of all, how the fuck do you even extract that?
That's a really good point. How do you extract that?
A flapping salmon. It's just like, we'll get some eventually. I'll try it on my own face first. I don't know. How do they know that's good for you?
I don't know. Because surely you'd have to do like a before and an after thing in order to find out the effects and benefits.
Could you imagine the fucking clinical trial for that?
Oh, God, no.
So today we're trying frog semen. So let's see if this works. And then, rabbit.
Because this is the thing, they always the ribbit thing just threw me then completely.
Their favourite condom, isn't it?
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Awful.
That was good. But they say, like, don't they? They always say that sperm's good for your skin. So someone literally has sat there and gone, I wonder if it's just human. There's got to be some animal ones that must be good too.
Monday, frog. Tuesday, giraffe. Wednesday, rhinoceros. That was insanely difficult to get, might I add. Bloody hell, that was fucking ridiculous. I almost got anal off his fucking horn. Thursday, salmon. And then Friday, we'll try haddock. But it just baffling. What's next? Budgie?
Budgie spunk. It's only got to be a tiny bit. It must take a while to get enough to do a facial out of that.
And then you just like rub it in.
It's just eye serum. That's what you're getting from budgies.
Yeah.
That's not a sentence I ever thought I'd say in my fucking life.
But basically, it came from one of my colleagues at work, Claire. She was like, "Oh, I'm going to go and have injections of salmon semen in my face." I was like, "Sorry, did you just say you were having salmon spunk injected into your face?" She's like, "Yeah."
Okay, I thought this was something you found on the internet. You know someone who's doing this.
Oh, yes.
That's even weirder.
So I thought I'd give her a moment in the sun.
But she's like, I'm going to fucking kill you, Tom, when she hears this.
Probably. That's if they ever do listen to it. One of my... God.
I don't know. What reason did she give for this?
Just likes, obviously, having spunk injection to her face, I'm assuming. She had enough of it on. Time to go in. That's my guess anyway.
That's just fucking weird.
But I overheard an amazing conversation as well. Happily eating lunch, just chilling as you do, just relaxing, enjoying your lunch. Overheard a conversation, and all I heard was, "Oh my God, she was absolutely devastated because all her frozen breast milk had defrosted." Like, what?
I know this is a thing, to be fair. I've heard. I'm pretty certain I know someone that used to do this, actually. Yeah. But what a weird thing to say in public.
What for?
Because sometimes it just keeps fucking coming, and it can hurt if you don't pump it. So they just keep it. So like when you're out and about and you can't breastfeed, you've still got the milk for the kid.
Ah, I thought they were having the fucking frosties or something.
Or using a lovely slushy.
Or putting in their fucking cake batter. We'll use that for banoffee pie on Sunday. That'd be lovely, that.
I mean, they could have been using it for that too.
Breastoffee pie. Awful. God, you could tell I've been away for a while. The cogs are like, come on, we'll get there.
It shows my shit humour. You're like, this is the lowest of the low, and I find it fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but you find everything fucking hilarious. So,
well, yeah, I'm easily amused.
Yeah, exactly. I could just say poo and you'd laugh. So you already want to go. But this was fucking cool. You know how we used to talk about really ridiculously stupid sports?
Yes.
They've invented disco football.
Sorry, what?
In France, they've invented disco football. You're not allowed to stop dancing.
That is absolutely brilliant.
It's unbelievable. And now people really... So you're playing football, but you have to disco dance the entire time.
That's amazing.
You'd be so fit, wouldn't you?
I was going to say, that'd be one hell of a workout.
So yeah, it's just people like kicking the ball, like, yeah, and then running off, like...
Really brilliant.
It's so good. You should be able to find a clip somewhere, I think.
I was going to say, I'm looking for a clip of this because it's got to be seen.
But I just think that's absolutely mental, to be honest.
Brilliant.
Do you think?
I feel sorry for the goalie, though, because he's literally just got to stand there like the whole fucking game.
They're dad dancing, that's all they're doing. They're just dad dancing the entire time, not to expel too much energy.
Fucking knackering. Dive for the ball. No, I'm bollocks.
So if they die, then they're like on the floor, like fouls would be weird.
It would be.
He takes one on the floor, like
holding his knee.
Yeah, holding the leg, just like. Oh yeah, right on. People dancing around. Oh. Like completely shattered his fibula. Oh.
I just want to see the referee trying to tell someone off. You have a yellow card. Get the fuck out of here.
Someone just gets severed in half, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they're dead. All right, yeah, someone's died. Woo!
Can't stop dancing."
Not allowed. Do they get sent off? Do you reckon they get sent off or something? They stop.
Maybe. Weird reasons to get sent off.
Yeah, French is like, I can't be fucked with this bullshit. Smoking in the corner.
Does this count as a dance? Because I'm doing it.
I scored a goal. Oh, yeah, mental. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm really fucking warm all of a sudden. But yeah, I'm good.
Dude, it's the start of August. It's going to be absolutely roasting.
And I wasn't that hot till I came in here, and I wasn't absolutely boiling. But yeah, I'm good.
We were just fake disco dancing.
That's probably what it is.
Sort of thing,
that was just faking it. Imagine if we were actually doing disco.
No, I know.
Oh, we'd be bollocks.
What would you wear? Get some hot pants on the go.
Oh yeah. It's gonna have to be a shorts job. I couldn't do that in like jeans or something. Joggers, could you?
We wouldn't play football in jeans anyway. But what I'm saying
is,
would you go for the regular football short? Or would you shorten that and make them hot pants?
I mean, no one wants to see me in hot pants. But for comedy, yeah, fuck it, I'm going
Becky,
hot pants. Well, I doubt it.
Might be on their bucket list for 2024.
I'll find out after this. I can guarantee the answer's no.
Oh, you should do it anyway. It'd be so amazing. Just pick random shit to do every single day and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
I mean, it's Pink Day on Thursday at Bloodstock, so I could just turn up in pink hot pants.
Do it. Interview some bands in pink hot pants.
The
Acid Age boys will fucking love it.
They fucking would, to be
Yeah.
fair. But yeah, other than tired from a long weekend and warm, I'm good. What about yourself?
Dude, do you realise we've missed like 6 weeks of show here? Are we not going back to back, like talking all about it?
Well, I was going to say I've listed what I've been up to. I've been up to quite a lot, but I've made it pretty short and sweet.
I'll tell you what we'll do.
What we'll do.
It's time for Callum's Treaches.
Hey.
Do you want to know something? Callum will be able to tell you in Callum's Treachings.
Is cereal soup?
Ooh.
Hello, this week's Treachings come from the set of my own podcast, That Gym Couple Podcast, that I host with my partner Lucy, where we discuss all things gyms, fitness, gym anxiety, and a bunch of other stuff in between. If you do have the opportunity to come and check us out at That Gym Couple Podcast on Spotify and YouTube, we'd very much appreciate it.
Let's bring the Treach back. The Treacher is home. He's back. Bear in mind, these Treats were sent to us 3 weeks ago when we thought we were going to record 3 weeks ago, but still.
We've got to find them. There we go.
Let's hope that they're actually fucking still in date and they're still valid. Jamie, when you're ready, what is Callum Treaching us this week?
In the future, self-driving cars could drive you straight to prison if there's a warrant out for your arrest.
Holy fuck, that's brilliant.
That is amazing, isn't it?
Can you imagine?
You couldn't even get out. You'd be like, damn it, foiled again.
Fuck you, Tesla. It'd probably be them, let's be honest.
If it's Tesla, mate, probably drive into the fucking wall. You wouldn't even get to prison. Just hit a lamppost and be like, error, and the doors are all open and start flapping up and down.
That is actually genius. Yeah, you try and steal a car and you just like, I don't think so. Just drive you straight to prison. That'd be fucking brilliant.
I imagine like they'll point like a stealth car at some point, and it'll look like chrome, but it'll just be somebody with the cover over it running next to it. Like you can't see it. You can't see it. Stealth car. Elon Musk, and he's like, shh.
I was going to say, it's got to be an Elon invention, that has, yeah.
But it's his company, of course it will be.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You sausage.
I didn't know which meant cars in general, not Tesla. But if it's Tesla, then yeah.
I wonder if it just seems to know it does like a retina scan or a face scan or something. It's like override, and then it just sends you wherever you want to go. Whereas that'd be interesting if that's actually a thing in the future.
I was going to say, yeah, I didn't actually think it through enough to know how the car would know it's you. But yeah, it must be some retina or DNA on the steering wheel or some shit.
I love the idea of like Tesco. But you don't specify where. Then all of a sudden you end up in fucking Nottingham. You're like, what the fuck am I doing here?
You have to be really fucking specific of which Tesco you want to go to.
No, just picks one at random. Just picks one at random, so you don't know where you're going. 18 hours later.
Sat-nav Russian roulette. Just like, Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's Inverness. Oh, okay.
I'll sit back.
I wonder why fucking my frozen peas won't be frozen anymore and I got home, mate. So you can't do the frozen shop. Would be weird if it like changed it to like a fucking Autobot or fucking Transformer. They're jumping all the shopping for you.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And you just sat in it like. That'd be cool.
That is the future, isn't it? Technology's just going to end up like Wall-E. Everyone's going to be lazy as fuck and just sit in a chair, and the world will do everything for
Never
us.
seen it.
It's basically people just sit in chairs and be really fat, and everything happens for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought we'd have hoverboards by now, so let's be realistic.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Or self-tying shoes is Back to the Future was to be anything believed.
Was that in there?
Yeah. He just hit a thing on his shoe and it tightened up for him. It was great.
I mean, I'd love that because I tighten mine way too tight and break all my laces all the time. So
why don't you do them a little bit looser than if you?
I don't know. Well, because I don't know what's the average tighten of a shoe. I don't know. What's the common? I would just go for it and go, and then it's just tight. Then
it's a good point, actually. Yeah, you don't really know the limits of a lace.
I feel if you go like just loosen it, like it just comes apart.
You can say it's been 6 weeks.
Yeah. No, seriously. This is good shit. What are you
on
about?
I like it. I just like.
Fucking hell. Go on, listen to this prick talk. Jesus Christ. You saw what self-tie shoe is? This is now the fucking prick.
It's about we got onto the density of shoelaces.
Yeah, but okay, sorry. I thought.
No, I think it's a great conversation to be had.
Then why the fuck are you shitting on me then?
I ain't shitting on it. I'm just saying. Jesus Christ.
Definitely shitting on it. He's shitting on everyone, isn't he?
I'm not shitting.
Sorry, the camera's here. He's shitting on everyone. I forgot my camera was for a second. As I look at my microphone, like, yeah, you know, yeah.
Before he talked to everyone in the room, he's shitting on me.
But I'd love the idea of it being like a whole. Not that it ever happened. Transformers. Some kids I've seen with Transformers cosplay, unbelievable.
Oh yeah, some of these cosplays they can make for Transformers is nuts.
Which is amazing.
How they do it, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. But still, Jamie, what else is Callum Treachings this week?
If people didn't buy so much, we could probably work a lot less.
Oh my god, that's the dream.
Why? When people are watching this, they're going to have to look at the piss and vinegar on his face as he said that.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably like, if people didn't buy so much, we wouldn't have to work so much.
But he works in a gym, so technically that doesn't really work that way, does it?
It's probably like, if people stopped eating so much, I wouldn't have to work so much.
Oh, mate, it'd be great if we could have like a 4-day week. Oh,
it's a dream. Isn't there some countries that actually do that?
Greece have gone to a 6-day working week. Like, fuck that.
Why?
Yeah, evil bastards.
Oh, I think it's like the Netherlands possibly have a 4-day week, I think it is.
It'd be beautiful, man. You actually get time to do shit and actually live your life a little bit rather than feel like it's working forever.
To be fair, I'd just like to work the same shifts continuously. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I'm bored of that, but I think I feel like I fucking live in my. I just pitch a tent.
Might as well.
Might as fucking well. But yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, but stop buying it. People panic buy though, don't they, when like shit starts to go down?
Oh yeah, I think the Corona was the massive example of that with the fucking bog roll. I'll never understand that.
I don't know if it's me thinking like it's always different people shopping on different days, or if it's the same people going at the same time. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
I always feel like I have stuff in and I go, oh, I fancy this, I'll go get this instead. So I'll go get more stuff. And then it's like, oh, actually, I really fancy this today. So I'll go get more stuff. And eventually just pile up loads of shit.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. The weekly meal board to make sure we don't do that. And then half the time we end up diverging from it anyway. But at least we try.
So like
we put the effort in.
So that made no sense at all. Like that added no.
It's because I was saying it because I was looking at it and then I realised halfway as I was saying it, like, yeah, we don't stick to that, do we? Let's be honest.
No one does, mate. It's so hard to fucking commit to the, you go, it's leek and bacon pasta tonight. That's lovely, that is. But God, I'd murder a lasagna.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Or in our case, it's that, but I really can't be fucked to cook it.
I feel you, mate.
Then it was made beautiful.
Oh, that's going to happen eventually as well. Going back to the hoverboards and that sort of stuff, there's going to be a day where that's going to happen.
Just imagine a meal and it's there. Oh,
yeah, and it will take however long it takes to cook and appear. That would be great. That would be great. But I feel like we're doing Callum a disservice here, so let's find out what he finally was teaching us this week.
With time travel, certain moments in history will become tourist hotspots.
Oh, absolutely they would.
I'm trying to think of some now.
I'll be like, oh, do you know what I feel like doing today? Let's go see when Henry VIII died. Ding! Things like that. Trojan horse, let's see what it really looked like, shall we? Bet it were a fucking horse.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when you see that sort of stuff? I don't know, I probably don't go back to the fucking, Pearl Harbor or something, like fucking Normandy World War II. I'd be like, oh, shit!
Where's the button to get back?
Yeah. That'd probably be my luck. Or I'd go back to the dinosaur era and be like, right by a T-Rex, open its jaws. Oh, bollocks.
That's the only problem with time travel. You don't know where you're going to appear. Like exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So how the fuck, like, I want to go back and watch Mozart write his first ever symphony. But then you end up at the other side of town. You go, I don't know a fucking clue where he lives.
I'm going to go to this. Where is it? Oh, Google it. Can't. Fuck.
I can't speak German or Swiss or wherever the fuck he's from.
This is the idea, just in pure intrigue. Was Napoleon really that short? I don't know. Let's go find out. It'd be great.
It would be fucking amazing.
And kids' history projects at school would be cool as fuck. They're like Bill and Ted. We just go get them and bring them back with them. It'd be great.
Yeah, beef oven's still one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. Yeah.
Who's Joan of Arc? Noah's wife? God, I love that film.
Or you go back and be like, I wonder what really happened in Pompeii. And
exactly.
But then it has to recharge. You're like, shit, that lava's coming quite fast. Hurry up, hurry the fuck up. 1 hour to chat. No! Game over.
And run.
It'd be amazing now. I don't know what I'd go back to. What would you go back to? Would you go back to your childhood now and watch yourself? Or was that weird?
I think it'd be a bit depressing to be fair.
Oh, look how fat and chubby I were.
Exactly that. But think, would you be able to interact? Because you could really fuck up the timeline if you did that.
I don't think you could be seen.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do it, it'd have to be a tourist thing where you're there, but no one else sees you.
It's almost like you're looking through a TV screen.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be something like that, yeah. because
It's
the
the
future
actual-
would be fucked if we were allowed to interact.
Oh God, I can't even imagine what. Yeah. Anyway, let's
Yeah.
move on. Thank you, Callum. But yeah, what have you? So what's your last 6 weeks look like, Jay?
Well, let's see. What have we done? We've been to 2,000 Trees, which was
have.
fucking glorious. I hope
Which
you all
was it?
enjoyed those interviews. I've had my birthday. I'm now a year older. I'd say a year wiser, but no. But I'm now 38, getting closer to 40, because that's how maths works before you say it.
Beat me to it. Nice.
I've had dental surgery, which I got knocked out
Oh,
for.
how
That
was
an
that?
interesting experience. It was fine. Because I was quite nervous going in, but they were like saying all these different things to me, like when you're going to feel really weird for the rest of the day, you're not going to remember this tomorrow. Tomorrow, you're going to wake up and be in pain. All this sort of. I didn't have any pain the next day. I remembered the whole fucking thing. Like, I haven't had any of the side effects I thought I'd have. And it's been great. I've had no problems.
What did you have done?
I had 2 teeth out and 3 fillings because I
Okay,
did not
no.
look after myself when I was younger. But I'm putting the effort in now. And I
Was
got
it
my
removed?
first ever electric toothbrush. That's weird.
It's great. They're amazing.
I do feel a lot cleaner than before, but it's so weird to get used to.
Yeah, it's great though.
Yeah.
What teeth you have
Yeah,
removed? You know why I'm
one,
interested.
one for the top, one for the bottom.
Oh, okay.
both the
What?
same
Same ones? Oh wow.
Pretty
So
much,
like,
yeah.
is there a complete gap bottom and bottom then? Or
Pretty
is it-
much, yeah.
How's eating?
Getting used to it. It's a bit odd, but I'm getting used to it. But it's
Welcome to Jamie's Dental Hour.
yeah. Well, it did make me laugh. I went into the room, sat down, and one of the technicians turned to the dentist and went, what's it she said now? Shall I go and get the was it tweezers or forceps? That was it. Shall I go get the forceps? And I was like, I turned around and went, why would you say in front of a nervous patient, shall I go and get the forceps? I was like, do you want to go and get the giant pliers while you're there? Fair play to the dentist. He went, yeah. Do you want to get the massive fucking crowbar as well, just in case there's any issues?
I'll get the forceps. He might give birth to it at the same time. You just don't know. Get the nurse as well as to be on the safe side. The midwife. We need her too.
I've realised when I get nervous, my humour kicks in. So I was just cracking jokes the whole time until I passed out, basically.
Was it? Why is Pooh brown?
Don't know, I probably could have fucking said that, no, mate. But they're like, what music do you want on? I was like, I'm going to be unconscious. Whatever makes him feel more comfortable. He's the one yanking my teeth out. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Wanna break some teeth all night. A party every day. Just wanna yank his teeth all night.
It's like at one point she was passing me a face mask.
You wake up going, what the fuck is going on?
It's like someone's done a drum solo in here.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. But for some reason I want to rock and roll now. I don't know why.
At one point she passed me a face mask. I was like, surely that's really counterproductive. She's like, no, it's for your eyes. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm really concerned then. I was like, you're going to remove my eyes instead.
A face mask for your eyes?
It was literally like the face mask we all wore during the pandemic, but it was to go over my eyes.
What for?
I don't really know. I think it's
We
because
don't
I
want
was
you
out.
see it. Don't see this. Don't see this, mate. All right.
It probably was because I'm out cold and woozy. Probably quite daunting to just see this dentist over the top of my head. So I kind of fair.
All right, mate. Just finishing up using a bit of glue. Apparently, salmons are good for this, but I thought I'd use my own.
Just some extra lubricant.
Yeah, put that. Just stick that tooth bucket that's removed for you. Put an implant in, but I use my fucking semen because apparently salmons are great for your face, but dentist spunk is good for your teeth. Oh.
Oh, and then pulling it back. This weekend was Olivia's birthday.
Yeah, I was like, Steve, this is going, fuck's sake, why do I go and talk to these guys? I'm a well-renowned Hollywood makeup artist. I'm talking to 2 bellends from the UK.
Sorry, Steve.
Oh, sorry, Steve. Did Olivia have a good birthday anyway?
Yeah, Olivia did have a great birthday, yes. We had all the kids over. We had a massive fucking party of almost 30 children. It was my idea of hell. Oh, awful.
I'm surprised the alarms are going for your house going self-destruct in 30 seconds.
Oh, no, we weren't in the house this time. We hired some hall down the road because it was Becky and her cousin's first birthday. Olivia's birthday and her cousin's first birthday. So we had a joint thing down the road for her. So at least it wasn't in my house this time. It was a little bit safer. But no, it was good fun. One point, Sam started running around with 2 giant balloons up his top, pretending he had tits, having everyone in fucking stitches, which was absolutely hilarious. Yeah. And then Here we are today, getting ready for Bloodstock in a couple of days. Yay!
Yes, very, very excited. The weather looks amazing as well. So
Yes.
I'm probably going to die, and you'll be absolutely fine. So I'm also just want to say how proud I am of you for going and getting your teeth sorted. So I know how scared you were about that. So I feel like I did last year, so it was your turn this year. So
yeah,
I was tempted to book some interviews in for the day straight after and then the Sunday, but I thought better of it. So
yeah, that wouldn't have ended well for me.
Well, no, but obviously I had to do that last year. So
oh shit, yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yes, exactly.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Do you want to talk to Michael Jackson's guitarist the day after you fucking had dental surgery with bones sticking through your gum? Yeah, perfect. That sounds great.
It was like playing with Michael Jackson.
It was awful.
It's pretty bad.
I think it was three. I think it was her. It was Christopher Ward, and it was Hannah Hawkey of Rockfit.
Yes,
and I was just like, I'm suffering so much.
I think it's the one of them where you just gave up talking after a little bit.
I think I did, yeah. Should have got some fucking dentist spunk in my mouth. It'll be absolutely fine.
Anyway, what have you been up to, my friend?
Fuck all. we've had 2,000 trees.
We have.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then I've been fucking working.
Fair enough.
Get ready for Bloodstock, like you said. Obviously, I've got AEW all in about 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, so I'm very fucking excited for that. 2 weeks this weekend, actually. Buzzing. Cannot wait. I'm so far behind, though. I really need to fucking start smashing that out and catching up. But yeah, man, like, I've just been very busy. We've got some really shit news that they're selling the house.
Yes.
So this house is going, so I need to move again. God, dude, it's just after a while you're like, the thing is, it's weird because I love moving in a really weird way.
No, okay.
Because I get really itchy feet, so I quite like exploring and going new places and experiencing new things and that sort of thing. So, yes, so we shall see what happens there. We've done some wonderful interviews that you've all heard, all the ones from 2000 Trees, obviously Alt Black Era, Xander Berkeley. And obviously Steve, which you'll be hearing very shortly, which you would have heard at the beginning. Sorry, not very shortly. You would have heard shortly ago. Over yonder. But yeah, so it's been good. It's just boiling, man. Like so warm. Yeah. But I'm a ginger, so are you. That's what happens.
Better than the rain.
We just melt.
I'll let you have that one.
So one day you'll accept it. But yeah, it's way better than the rain, especially when you're out interviewing in the fields. I would love to see a goth's corpse paint start dribbling down their face. That'd be quite funny.
Would that look better or worse?
I think it look cool. Depends on.
I think it looked kind of cool, wouldn't it?
Depends on what they had and that sort of what was where and that sort of shit. But
I wonder what goth corpse paint would look like when it's melting from the heat.
We will find out. We shall see. I will reply to some emails, don't you worry, after we've recorded this. But I suppose we should definitely hear from Braden and then hit it with Tom's journal.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Braden from Say We Can Fly. Just letting you know, we've got a brand new merch store out there.
Please let me say the link. Let me say the link, please.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, you can say the link, yes, all right? Okay. So the link for the shop
the link for the shop is www.saywecanfly.shop.
All right, good job, Seamus. So www.saywecanfly.shop, 10% off if you use the code.
Let me say the code. Let me say the code, please.
Okay, fine. You can say the code. If you use the code...
The code is The Chronicles.
What? No, it's not.
The Chronicles.
No, it's not. It's The Chronicles, Seamus.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The Chronicles at checkout, all right? You get 10% off.
10% off?
Yes, they know, Seamus. Okay?
I'm just trying to help, all right?
Visit www.saywecanfly.shop and use code The Chronicles for 10% off your order. Available at participating Say We Can Fly restaurants and web stores. Some restrictions may apply, but probably not.
And welcome to another edition of Tom's Journal. Welcome to Tom's Journal.
Yay.
It's good to be back. I've got so many entries, like we are done for at least the rest of the year, I think. Me, licking lips in anticipation. Oh, I'm so nervous. I've never done a bungee jump before. Instructor, don't lick my lips again.
fuck's sake, that's so stupid. Oh, fuck me, that is beyond stupid. That's great.
Oh. My gran started walking 2 miles a day when she turned 6 to try and keep fit. She's 70 odd now. I've got no fucking clue where she is.
That's good. I like that.
Marry someone, Jamie, who keeps you accountable. For example, tonight I wanted to order hot wings at 11 p.m. and my husband was like, hell yes, great idea.
That's us, that is, to be fair. Shall I order this? Yeah? Okay, sorted.
It's 1 a.m. and
your point.
You're not hungry. It's hot wing one. It's 1 a.m. a hot wing. I'm 23. My knee's 51. My shoulder's 47. And my back turns 62 tomorrow.
I love that when he does those like filters where it's like tries to work out how old you are. Then he body part ones, then it's like, your right knee is definitely 10 years older than the left, yes.
And your coccyx is gone. It's dead.
It's dead.
My friend just sent me this interaction she had with her boyfriend, and I just can't. So Lidl Water has a weird flick cap now. It's so fucked up. Who's that? What, Lidl Water? Is he a rapper? No, it's water from Lidl. Oh my god.
So fucking dumb, but at the same time, I would not be surprised if there is a rapper called Little Water.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck's sake.
Oh, fuck, that's brilliant.
Is that my thing? It is. Jesus died for our sins. Okay, but he didn't stay dead, did he? So what exactly did he sacrifice? Jesus gave up his weekend for your sins.
Never looks at it like that. That's fucking beautiful.
I love this.
Oh, that's superb. That is
so fucking good. Oh, this really made me laugh as well. Bands in 2008 would write songs like, her eyes are like the ocean tides, scared to get closer, I might drown in lies. And then would name the song, I once had tea with Captain Jack Sparrow.
Says every Fall Out Boy album ever written.
Oh. Wait, my 4-year-old pretended she was a hired cleaner yesterday. As she helped me clean, she asked if I had any kids. After telling her about my 2, I asked if she had any of her own. Turns out she has 5 kids, has been married to a man named Carlin for 30 years. You think you know someone?
I love how kids' imagination just fucking goes off the planet. It's fucking brilliant.
I can imagine Olivia gave you some absolute juicy ones.
Oh, most of the time she just grabs me and says, "You're my husband now," and then tells me we've got children and I've got to carry them. Yeah, she's fucking weird. She likes playing families.
Well, okay.
I don't know.
Dear parents, a brief reminder to those attending our upcoming sports day that it's sports day and not the fucking Olympics. Thank you, school office.
Oh, that's another thing I've had to do since this fucking last recorded. Sports day, where I got made to do the parent race.
Ah, yes. How'd you fare?
That was embarrassing. I can't run for shit.
Ah, okay. Well, you weren't running for shit, you were running for Olivia, right?
Well, yeah, well. So bad. So bad.
Where'd you come?
I think I was third from last, and it was like 2 slow moms behind me. Like, it's so embarrassing.
Oh, mate.
I'm so unfit, it's unreal.
Bless you.
But after watching Olivia run, I'm like, that's where you get it from. It makes sense. No paternity test is ever needed. You're clearly my child.
On Twitter, some lady put, every woman's biggest nightmare is late marriage. And this lady replied with, mine is sitting on a toilet and a hidden snake attacks my vagina, but okay.
I mean, that's a fair thing to be scared of. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think. And finally, this is such a good one to end on. I reckon you're gonna hate this. Judge, do you swear to speak the truth and nothing but the truth? Me, of course. Judge, who do you like, me or my god dare?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And that was another edition of Tom's Journal.
That is scraping the barrel through to the barrel underneath.
It was great.
That was fucking brilliantly terrible.
So good. I should have went with the Jesus one. That's what I should have done.
It's about it took me like a half a second to click onto what you'd said as well. Made it even worse.
It's about getting into schools and talking to young people because, you know, I know that people can change. And it's about talking to people and getting them to understand and perhaps step back from violence and prejudice and whatever. And we just need to work together and keep on the good fight there.
Absolutely.
Hey there, guys. We are ecstatically happy to announce that we are associated with the Sophie Lancaster Foundation.
The times are changing, and with the unfortunate death of Sophie, those changes have made a massive impact for the future. If Sophie was with us still today, I can guarantee what you are doing will still be reaching so many lives of young teenagers, young adults, and those who wish to be as different as possible. So thank you very much.
To find out more about this incredible foundation and all the work they do, and more importantly, how you can help, head on over to www.sophielancasterfoundation.com. Mr. Stevens, Mr. Stevens.
Because in the end, Jamie doesn't matter. I had to Jamie it all. Because in the end, Jamie doesn't matter.
I mean, rude, but anyway. It's audience participation time.
Oh, you bolt. Ah, that was awful. Sorry.
Fuck you. It's hard to get participation into the Flintstones theme song.
Just
All right?
fucking say it properly. Good. I was like going, participate, bitch. I don't mean that's not my song. Because participate, bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to participate in Jamie's participation challenge. I've had that written down as the Flintstones since we spent the whole time at 2000 Trees going, Homer Simpson.
He's the greatest guy in history.
From the town of Springfield, he's about to hit a chestnut tree.
Anyway, 6 weeks ago I asked, as suggested by a friend of the show, Manny Malpass, this week we're asking you to make a band sound edible. What say you, Mr. Stevens?
I hope you enjoyed this.
There's some gold here.
I hope there are some really good stuff here, but mine is the Chinese 5 Spice Girls. That's what I went for.
How am I supposed to fucking top that? Oh, fucking hell.
What did you have?
Annoyingly, the one I thought of, my mum then commented, so I don't know whether to keep it for myself or give it to my mum on here. Should I just say it's from both me and mum, as we both had the same idea? Flan Halen.
Nice.
I'm quite proud of that one.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get some audience answers. There's some great ones here. Lisa Clemens, The Rolling Scones.
Yeah.
I like that. Dino Maguire, Bake That. Amy Macy, she's given us a few here, and they are gold. 5-finger fruit punch.
Yeah.
Depeche a la mode. Lasagna Levine. That really made me laugh. Macaroon 5. Motionless in white chocolate. That really tickled me. And the birthday cake massacre. I like that one. Oh, Motley Stew. He had to get involved. Iron Supplement Maiden. Jeez. Lucy Orchard. New curds on the block. Brilliant. Johnny Paul Simpson. Petit Faloo Fighters. Mark Woodyap being clever. Limp Biscuit.
Yeah, of course.
Works. Matt Bacon. This is fucking brilliant. Bring me the hummus. Brilliant.
Yeah, I absolutely love that as well.
Claire Jones. This is a fucking stretch, but I'll allow it because it's brilliant. Instead of Evanescence, Vanilla Essence.
Yeah, no. Cool.
Ian Shaw. Queen War. That's fucking brilliant. Paulie Dobson. Ragu Against the Machine. Really? Jake Smith. Instead of Baby Metal, Baby Bell.
Yeah.
Yep. Abby Lloyd. Well, you don't even need to change meatloaf, although arguably I'd prefer bread loaf. There.
Yeah.
Buns and Roses. And Fleetwood Mac and Cheese.
Love Fleetwood. Love that one.
Ruby Goodwin. 30 Seconds to Mars Bar.
Yeah.
Phil Jolly. This is clever. Instead of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Emmental Cake and Palmer.
Yeah.
Oh, the man that suggested this himself, Mally Malpass, Motley Stew, and Mr. Big Mac. That's clever.
Nice.
I liked that one a lot. And we've got some. Oh, these are so good. We've got some people from your work, sir. You've given me a great list of people from your work. Terry, AC Greasy. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Tinned Lizzie. Nikita. One of my favourite ones. Wheaterspix. Brilliant. Kaiser Chiefs Kiev and chips. Kill me.
It's Kaiser, but yeah.
What did I say?
Kaiser.
I don't know why I said
Kaiser
Kaiser.
Chiefs.
Kaiser. Yeah, no, I don't know why I said that. Kaiser Chiefs Kievs and chips. Fucking brilliant. Kerry. Manic Street Food Preachers. Fucking brilliant. Vanilla Ice Cream. Brilliant. And this might be one of my favourites. Bjorky.
Oh, Bjorky is superb.
Oh, and last but not least, I think he's a first-time participator in this. In Terry Weldon. These are fucking gold. Like I was like, I'll just pick a 2 or 3 out. Couldn't do it. I couldn't narrow them down. They're great.
He did have AC Greasy, so.
Oh. Past the Pussycat. Food Fighters. This one I love. Bruce Spring Onion Sting. Tom Petty Dejeuner. The Peach Boys. Oh, and my 2 favourite ones. Skid Roll and David Lee Broth. I don't think you're going to top David Lee Broth. Just superb. That's what that is.
He's my director at work.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, and he absolutely loved it to the point where he got his wife involved and they couldn't stop messaging me.
When you sent me that with David Lee Broth, I almost died. That was so funny.
They are phenomenal.
Oh, that was a great fair play, Mally. That was
thank you,
great
Mally.
suggestion.
We massively appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you absolute hero.
But if you enjoy Jamie's participation challenge, Tom's journal, Callum's Treachings, the interview, and the are you guys all right? And you enjoy the other 130 editions of the Chronicles of Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from, whether it's Spotify, Google, and Apple, etc. You know the drill. The best place to find us is on all social medias at TCO Pod, or come and subscribe to us on YouTube at the Chronicles of Podcast. Hit that bell to get notified when new videos are released and comment to your heart's content. That's all social media at TCO Pod or YouTube at the Chronicles of Podcast. Now, if I'm right, I think Jamie wants to say something.
Yeah, we do. I want to say a massive thank you to a few of our friends. Every single piece of music you heard on today's show is brought to you by the wonderful singer-songwriter Matt Roberts. Go check him out, all social medias, Matt Roberts Music. Make sure you follow him on Spotify or wherever you get your music from, and tell him we said hello. And of course, a massive thank you to Mr. Braden Barry and his saywecanfly.shop. Head on over to saywecanfly.shop, see what you like the look of, add it to your basket, whether it be some signed lyrics, some CDs, some apparel, whatever it be. Add in that discount code, The Chronicles, and get yourself 10% off your order. And talking to Mr. Braden Barry, go check out Anxious Ghost as well. His other little side project with some beautiful apparel on there. And last but not least, a massive thank you to the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, because they're stamping out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere, and I mean everywhere. This is not a global issue. What happened to Sophie? This affected the alternative community worldwide, and is a worldwide issue that is affecting the alternative community today. We had a fantastic time talking to people at 2000 Trees, finding out all about their opinions and their experiences, and we cannot wait to do the same this weekend at Bloodstock and find out all about those experiences that people have had to endure simply because of the music they listen to, the way they dress, whatever it may be. So please head on over to SophieLancasterFoundation.com, check out Sophie's story if you're not familiar, share it with the world, see what you can do to help. And last but not least, massive thank you to my beautiful co-host over there.
Yes. Massive thank you to Jamie. Thank you so much for being a part of this as always, and it's good to be back doing the show once again. Another wonderful edition in the bag.
Another wonderful one indeed.
We love doing this, and as we'll see you all at Bloodstock Festival. If you're there, come and say hello, please. If not, we'll see. As for this week, we'll see you all next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Ta-ta!